Okay. I think all the streams are up, friends. Happy fucking Festivus month. It's gonna be a good one. It is December 1st, right? It is December 1st. Some people are already getting snow. So that's a real thing that's happening. We got a little bit of snow, but it's already gone. But I'm sure we'll be getting some more soon. We'll get some of that good old lake effect snow. Everyone's favorite thing. Anyways, welcome in. It's good to see everyone. We're starting a month off with a banger, and we're going to have a couple of them going on this month. So we've got some, for those who weren't here for last December, we've got kind of some specialty topics that we do in December. It should be a good time. And not to get backed up on super chats, I already got a bunch of them that came in. Let me grab those real quick so we don't get backed up right away. AR, thank you for the super chat. It says, I was watching the stream from yesterday and you mentioned that Jordan, the homophobe, had been on LG's live stream. Who's LG? LG Gray Comedy. She's a live streamer on TikTok. She's also a comedian. She's a stand-up comedian. She has a YouTube and a Facebook page as well. In fact, I've been meaning to get her on my channel. I'm going to have her on my channel soon. But for anyone who's familiar with the TikTok people, she's much bigger on TikTok, although she keeps getting her accounts banned. She used to have some really big accounts back in the day, and then, unfortunately, TikTok being what it is, they ban you at the drop of a hat. So she got herself banned for a little bit, but I think I don't think she's currently banned. But yeah, LG Gray is an amazing comedian. Grew up in a fundamentalistic background and tells her story online. She's got a couple interviews on YouTube as well. If you type in like LG Gray Comedy, I think you'll be able to find some interviews that she's done. She's really funny. Amir, thank you for sending out one Deconstruction Zone membership. I really appreciate that, friend. And I hope you're doing well. Good to hear from you. Gary, thank you for the super chat. Says a couple more bucks towards a Lucid Air. We're gonna need a lot. To be clear, friends, I will never spend that much money on a vehicle, even if I have it. Never. It'll never happen. I grew up with 7 siblings, and I value financial stability more than I value vehicles. Most of my vehicles are like bangers from like the 90s that I just work on myself to keep them running. I do currently have a newer vehicle as my daily driver, but in the winter, I just drive a 98 Jeep, an old Jeep Wrangler. I've got a 68 F100 that I've been rebuilding. Anyways, I really appreciate that. You deserve it as a mega pastor doing Doug's work. I mean, technically I am. I'm kind of like the atheist version of a mega church pastor at this point. I appreciate that, friend. Missing Jot and Tittle, amazing name. Amazing name. Thank you for the super chat. It says donate here, but watch Vert to balance Liskism. Well, thank you. And we need some people working to balance out the schism, at least the best that we can. Because remember, friends, there's no actual schism. And good question. Thank you for the $5 super chat. It says, responding to AR, are you talking about Jordy, the self-appointed god of truth? No. Oh, Jordan. Yeah, why? Invoking him brings boils between the toes. Nasty. Yeah, Jordan is a wild one. We've talked to him a couple times. He really thinks he's doing the Lord's work. Like, he legitimately believes that we're like demon-possessed atheists, and that if he just pretends to be nice to us, he'll convert us. But that's not how that works. Helping Mega Deconstruct. Good to see you, friend. Thank you for the super chat. Says, praise Doug and Sharon for giving us back-to-back DZ live streams. Did you ever read about Jesus' brother and the Christian-Chinese civil war he led? Actually, I never got to dig into this. I really need to, though. It's just one of those things where like my reading list is already so long that like I have to prioritize what I get to and what I don't get to immediately. So I'm trying, my friend. I'm trying. I do appreciate the suggestion, though. And Dark Soul says, thoughts on Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin. First of all, I'm not crazy about Jimi Hendrix. Listen, he's amazing. I just don't know if his music style was my flavor. But I love Led Zeppelin. Big fan of Led Zeppelin. Also, I think you'd like the Beauty of Annihilation by Elena Segman and Kevin Sherwood. Definitely have to check it out. I'm not sure what form of music they are, but to your first question, really big fan of Led Zeppelin. I used to have the vinyls back in the day. Now they're gone. I don't know where they're at now. Probably at Goodwill. Dark Soul, thank you for sending out a Deconstruction Zone membership. I appreciate that, friend. And Hank is in the house. Hank says, I brung some cold tins. Let's have a fucking Barbie. You said it. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's Barbie time. Of all the topics we do, this is the topic that brings it out. Although that reminds me, 1 second. I got to do one thing before we get going. I have to actually put the prompt up. Oops. Need to actually get a prompt up. Sorry about that. All right. All right. Now we're cooking with propane, as Hank Hill would say. Got the prompt up on both screens, although it's kind of small on one of these screens. Give me a second to get it resized on the vertical. That's probably okay. So that's good there. Yeah. Oh, hey, listen, you always need got to get a prompt on the screen. You know, some people don't actually read the video title, the stream title. So, you know, it is what it is. Voltage, good name. Thank you for the super chat. Says, hey, I hype doing. I like doing. Hey, I hype doing okay, and thank you for Native American defense you considered as a good, sir. Well, Voltage, I appreciate that. And I'm always quick to point out that us white Europeans that ended up here in America are actually the immigrants. We're the illegal immigrants. The natives deserve reparations. I fully believe that. And Iantu, good to see you, says, I'm a whore for the whores. Rock hard for Doug, simply wet for Sharon, gay for Justin, allegedly addicted to Ian. AATI is a good one. We got to keep that around. Allegedly addicted to Ian. I like that a lot. He does have an amazing name, by the way. I love allegedly Ian. And Lake, thank you for the $10 super chat, says, I know Moses is an Egyptian. Well, there's a case to be made that it could be a Hebrew name, but let's not go there just yet. But I've now heard from scholars that Moses means son of or to draw water out of. Does this sound familiar? Can both be right? Okay, there we go. So the Hebrew meaning of the name Moses or Moshe could mean to draw out. And this certainly would make a lot of sense. That being said, the Egyptian equivalent, Moses, was popular. We have lots of names with that ending in it. Think like Tutmosis. So like that's why it's so difficult, because if it's a Hebrew name, there's a path forward for determining what it could mean. If it's an Egyptian name, there's a path forward for knowing what it could mean, right? So the question we have to ask ourselves is, was it Hebrew or was it Egyptian? My personal opinion was that it was probably a Hebrew name pretending to be Egyptian. Like they took a name that they knew in Hebrew already, and they said, oh, there's some crossover in Egypt. This name shows up in Egypt. And that's how they ended up with the name of Moses. That's just me personally. I think that they borrowed from the tale of Sargon of Akkad. Tells you that it's a mythological story. Sargon was floated in a basket by his mother and was found by the gardener of the palace of Assyria, was raised by the gardener and became king. So it's the same story. It was just borrowed. Tim, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, so I think God and Satan were roommates, but no one wanted to take the trash out. So they kept squeezing it down until it had infinite pressure. Then bang, the universe. Now we have stinky garbage stars. I mean, that's it. That is the case, right? You cannot explain like God's impotence against Satan unless you just grant that Satan's as powerful as God, because otherwise God's on the hook for everything Satan does, right? The only way to fix it is be like, oh, well, that Satan fucker, he's really powerful. Peapot Fairy, good to see you. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It says, buy flag, whores for life, vert for replay, buy flag. Well, I don't know what buy flag mean. I think that's some internet slang or some young people slang that I'm not familiar with. But you know what? If it's me, if I'm watching it live, I'm typically watching it on horizontal so I can comment because I want to comment live comment. If I'm watching it on replay, it depends. If I'm around the house, it'd probably be horizontal. If I'm driving, or not driving, if I'm like somewhere where my phone is not being used, then I'm gonna put it on vertical so I can see the whole screen. You know, that's just me. That's just me. And Klein, thank you for the $5 super chat. Klein says, Doug got stuck in my snowblower yesterday and broke my auger shear bolts. I'm sorry about that. Shear bolts are meant to shear at least. I guess he didn't want me to get cold out in the snow. Well, listen, I'm sorry about that. That certainly wasn't Doug's plan. Somebody obviously misplaced one of Doug's children, and since they're essentially immobile, you know, it is what it is. Blame the forces of nature. You don't want to blame Doug on that. All right, I'm going to bring in our guests. We've got one on TikTok waiting and one on YouTube waiting. So let's grab our first guest. We're going to get Sam from our TikTok queue. I think we talked to Sam recently. Sam, welcome in. Are you at least
Hi.
are you at least 18, and are you a believer in God?
Yes, and yes, and yes, we did talk recently, so I'm excited to be back up.
Yeah, welcome back. And which version of God do you believe in?
Don't know. Okay, I have to ask. I have some questions. So I heard that. So I was talking to my pastor, and she went to seminary for 4 years through a master's
Mm-hmm.
program,
Mm-hmm.
and so she knows Greek and Hebrew, and you know, she knows a lot. But I have a question about
Well,
Genesis.
if you go to a good
Oh,
seminary, you have to learn it. They make you do it.
yeah, I'm just excited to have all these conversations with her about my questions. But she said that the story of Adam and Eve, or in Genesis, was passed down for 800 years orally before it was
Yep.
printed. 800 years?
Yep. She's right.
That's crazy. So what? How do we know? Why did we get the version where Eve looks
Well,
dumb?
so let me get the calculator out and double check our math. So it's probably about 800 years though. Anywhere between like 400 and 800 years, depending on when you think it was originally created. Here's why I think, though, that it was a long time. I don't think the story of Adam and Eve was really written down until the Babylonian period, right? So if we're talking about the Babylonian period, we're talking about 605 to 500 BCE. And if we assume that it was transmitted orally from that time period, orally from when, right? I would imagine from the beginning of like Abraham, maybe, like if that's the case. So if Abraham knew the story, that means it would have been transmitted from Abraham orally all the way to the Babylonian period, so almost 1,000 years. But if it was first given to Moses, well, then it depends on when you think Moses lived, right? So if Moses lived in the 1200s, then that gets you about 600 years, right? But if Moses lived, in fact, in the 1400s, which I think 1 Kings chapter 6 mandates, then that gets you, in fact, to 800 years. Which is, so I think she's spot fucking on, right? The problem is, Christians will say, well, it was written down before the Babylonian period, but we have no evidence of it. We don't have like Genesis in early Paleo Hebrew. We have Genesis basically written in Aramaic Hebrew. We do have some fragments that are in Paleo Hebrew, but it's clear that the fragments aren't actually all that old. We don't know if someone was converting them to Paleo Hebrew, because they could do that at the time period, or if they were legitimately copying an older Paleo Hebrew script. Long and short of it, Sam, your pastor's right.
That's great. I really enjoy going to her service, and the fact that she's a woman in power and authority, and she gives out the communion to everybody. You don't have to be baptized Lutheran to have it. She
I was
gives it
just about
out,
to
and to
ask, is she
me,
Lutheran?
yes. So yeah, it's a
Yeah,
Lutheran church, and to me, that's so powerful because growing up Christian, you have to be baptized. That's a big thing in Christianity, is to be baptized. In the Catholic Church, you can't take communion unless you're Catholic.
right,
And then I was
right.
Mormon for a long time, and in Mormonism, you can't take it unless you're Mormon. So to be welcomed into her church and congregation and said that, Jesus would freely give the communion was, like, life-changing for me almost. Like, it
Yeah, I
just is
get
so
it.
powerful. I have a lot of questions about the Bible. I only like to stick with what the context is so important and facts, and that's why I like
Mhm.
listening to you a lot because you talk with people about deconstructing their faith. Um, but I just feel like her church is such a safe place to
Yeah.
have those questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I really do. Well, Sam, did you want to engage in the topic, or did you just want to come to share about Moses? Because first of all, I don't know who your pastor is, but
Moses,
she sounds pretty smart.
yeah. Well, someone said Adam was stolen from the Egyptian god Atum in 1300 BC, who is depicted as a snake in the creation story. Is that true?
So that's the problem is we've got a couple different models for the Adam and Eve story. My personal opinion is that the Adam and Eve story originated with the Babylonian creation myths, where humankind was created out of clay, and then God put his wind and his blood into the clay to make mortals. And there's even a Babylonian narrative about a rib, and there's a Babylonian narrative about a snake stealing the plant of immortality. So if you go to the Epic of Gilgamesh, when he finds Utnapishtim basically at the end of the world in his view, he has to dive down into the sea of death to retrieve this plant that grows at the bottom of it. And if you eat this plant, supposedly you could be granted immortality if you could survive the swim all the way down. Well, he does survive the
Well,
swim,
in
but then the snake ends up stealing it from it.
oh, in Hinduism, the good forces and then the demonic forces work together to bring about the churning of the ocean, which brings up the tree of life. So the
Yeah,
good forces and the negative forces, bad forces, they work together, and that's how
these
that's
are
done.
just these are just really common tropes and stereotypes in the ancient world. So I'm not surprised at all that it shows up in the Bible. But
Well, the Epic of Gilgamesh is in a book I'm reading, and the book is called Myths of Mesopotamia.
oh, great book.
And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's so what I'm reading is about Enki and Elil
Yep.
and the
Did you
creation.
cover Anki and Intersog yet?
No, I'm
You
just started
you want
reading
that one
it.
next. That
Okay.
that one's that
Um
one's gonna have some creation mythology in it that'll parallel Genesis.
right. So they said how they made man or someone was mixed blood with intelligence, and that's how
Hmm.
they created, which is such an interesting way to put it, don't you think? I mean,
I mean, I think so. They all have their own twist on it. The problem with Babylonian creation epics is that there's more than one of them. So depending on which one you read, you get like a new flavor. But all of them have some kind of overlap with the biblical story, which is really neat.
so I just don't know this in history, so it's probably a dumb question, but can you answer it anyway?
Mhm. Sure.
um, so Mesopotamian I thought was Egyptian, not Babylonian. Why are you
No, no,
saying?
no. Mesopotamia is where the Babylonians, Sumerians, and Akkadians were. That was basically northeast of Palestine, and Egypt was southwest of Palestine on the south side of the Mediterranean Sea in northern Africa.
Okay, so right, that's where Egypt is in northern Africa. And then okay, so you're saying Akkadian, Babylonian, and Sumerian are in Palestine over there.
They're no northeast. In fact, let me grab a map real quick and show you what I'm talking about. One second. I gotta move my browser above the prompt. There we go.
Oh,
So on the
okay.
oop, what just happened? I don't know why I did that. Oh, it just made it way too big. Okay, that's fine. How do I move it? Okay, I don't like this at all. What's happening? Okay, well here's Palestine slash Judea, and Egypt is southwest of it. And if you go north, you get to Anatolia. We don't care about Anatolia, but then you get the Assyrian Empire and the Babylonian Empire way to the east of it, and the Sumerian Empire was in this region too, except they're a lot older, so they're not on this map. So yeah, when we talk about the ancient Near East, it encompasses all of these territories. It encompasses Egypt, Palestine, the Arameans, Syrians, Babylonians, and this pink up here is ancient Anatolia. It typically covers the Anatolians as well.
Do we have a lot of writings from all those places generally, or are they pretty rare?
Nope, we got a bunch. In fact, we've got so many of them. We've got a bunch on clay tablets that aren't even translated yet. But you can find a lot of them free on the internet, actually. So we've got a lot of writings from Anatolia. They're referred to as the Hittite corpus. We've got letters from Mari. We've got the Amarna tablets, 300 different tablets that were found, correspondences between the Egyptian pharaoh and petty kings in the land of Palestine or ancient Israel eventually. We've got thousands of tablets from Babylon and Assyria. We've got tons of tablets from the Library of Ashurbanipal. There's so much out there, you can spend the rest of your life reading it and never run out.
Are those all considered scriptures?
Not so much, no. I mean, some of it is, some of it's not. You know, some of it's just in fact, some of the most interesting stuff are just like palace records. So for example, in one of the palace records, we're told on two different accounts that Belshazzar is the child of Nabonidus, not the child of Nebuchadnezzar, as the Bible says, right? So something as mundane as palace receipts can yield really good information.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm generally a curious person who likes to learn about a lot of things, but it's hard for me to
Mhm.
prioritize when there's so much out there.
I get it. And we've got writings from Persia as well. One of the most famous is the Cyrus cylinder. You owe it to yourself to get on the internet and read the copy of the Cyrus cylinder that we have. It's amazing. It's King Cyrus's account of his conquest. It's really good.
So who decided the Bible was scripture then, or something divine?
Well, I mean, so the Jewish people, by and large, have an idea of what they think scripture means. It's just writings. Initially, it was writings that were important to the people group. It takes time for important writings to be scripture, and typically, it just needs to be a couple hundred years old before people are like, "Oh no, that's sacred now, and now you can't touch it." Everything becomes a holy cow eventually if you give it time. And this is the last thing I'll say because I got some opposition that I want to get up here. But I'll give you an
Okay.
example of what I'm talking about. I had a friend, Mike, who is a pastor at a Presbyterian church, and in the nave of the church, there was an altar that was just in the way. It needed to be moved. It needed to be moved back further. And so he asked a janitor, like, "Hey, can you help me move this thing back?" And janitor's like, "No, you don't want to move that back because the last pastor nearly got fired over moving this thing." And he's like, "Yeah, because it's in the way." But he's like, the problem is he moved it without telling anybody, and people lost their minds because it's been there for, 7,500 years, right? And so, to the people at the church, the location of the altar is basically meaningless to the pastor, but to the people at the church, that became sacred. So he moved it 1 inch at a time over the course of months before he got it to where he wanted it, so people wouldn't notice that he moved it. And that's how religion works, right? When you become used to something that is religious in nature, then eventually it just becomes sacred and you can't touch it.
Right. I have one more thing before I go because I know you want to make room for people. Um, so the last time we talked, you said you could get me the deconstructing work, but we can't message each other if you don't follow me, so I wasn't able to ever message you.
Oh, on
And
Discord?
you, I'm not on Discord. I meant on
Oh.
TikTok.
Oh, I don't just to be sure, Sam, I don't answer TikTok messages. I apologize. I get hundreds of them. I can't keep up with them. I do all my official business through email and Discord.
Okay, is there an email that I could ask for the deconstructing
Yeah, yeah, it's on my
link?
It's on my YouTube account. It's too long for you to remember, but if you go to my YouTube account, it'll be linked there. You'll see it.
Okay, is your YouTube also called
Deconstruction Zone.
um, Deconstruction Zone? Okay, so I can find that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you.
Sure thing. Good luck, friend. Good to hear from you.
You too.
She's nice. I love that her pastor told her something honestly. You can typically count on the Lutherans for that. The Lutherans don't fuck around with bad apologetics. They're kind of like the modern Catholics. They just kind of tell you what the scholarly consensus is. They don't get bogged down with apologetics all that much. I worked for a Lutheran church briefly. I loved it. Don says, "Sup, fellow heathens. Let's pray to Doug that no one as bad as Spirit calls tonight." By the way, this is Tamika. Well, hey, Tamika. Thank you for the super chat. And you know what? Spirit was bad, but I really wanted to take her through as much as possible because it was clear that she had been duped by this religion. And Ems and I wanted to free her from Islam. Famous Amos, thank you for the $10 super chat, says, "Please clip this Genesis discussion with Sam and post it somewhere. I want to listen again. I'm always learning something from you. TikTok is superior." Well, I do love TikTok, but just for you, I have a list of clips. So I'll say, Sam, I'll say clip convo for educational purposes. I got you, famous Amos. Thank you. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna grab 2 more super chats. We're gonna get our next guest in here. Ties for Doug, W Doug. Well, thank you, Colin. I really appreciate that, friend W Colin. And W, also Randy Wilson coming in with the people's elbow from the top rope. Thank you, Randy, for sending out 20 Deconstruction Zone membership. Let's get some W's in the house for Randy. Thank you so much, my friend. Randy really crushing memberships, just absolutely crushing them. All right. Well, we're going to grab PhD free and well, we're not going to grab PhD free because they dropped. So we're going to grab Steven. We talked to Steven a couple nights ago, maybe a week ago. 11/24, according to my list, we talked to Steven. Unless it's a different Steven. Welcome back, Steven.
Hi, Justin. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep, here, Justin. Just very quickly, I know you're wanting to get people in who disagree with the prompt, and so I'm 3 weeks into deconstruction, and so I'm not only going to take up like literally five minutes of your time. The first conversation we had, essentially, the big three things that convinced me: 9, Psalm 22, and Isaiah 53. So I'm doing them one by one, and I've done more reading on Daniel 9 this past couple weeks than probably 99% of Christians, and so um, I'm now fully read up on the Maccabean revolt and Ananias the third being the anointed one, and the reasons why that there's a scholarly consensus on the Daniel being written 2nd century BC. And I thought, see, when you Google Daniel 9, it's just like, what, or if you write, what is Daniel 9 about? It's just Jesus, 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 Jesus
It's
forever.
just top to
And so
bottom
in
Christian
order to,
apologetics.
yeah, so in order to actually get to, like, I typed in what's the original context of Daniel 9, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I went on ChatGPT and said, what is actually the original context of Daniel 9? And it said, oh, the original context of Daniel clear, and scholars agree that it's to do with the Maccabean revolt and it's to do with the death of blah blah. And I was like, this information is actually really difficult for someone to
Yeah.
get, Justin. But anyway,
Like
I got it,
I didn't
and
make it up, Steven. Like these are
yeah,
well accepted things in evangelical
mhm,
seminary. Like if you go to an evangelical seminary, these are just things that people know.
yeah. And for me now, when I read it, and I understand the history and the language that's been used, that it fits with the Maccabean revolt and that it was written after the fact, and that the things that were after that period were incorrect, and so it was written during that period, it seems, or
Yeah.
it was editorially written throughout a period of time, but finished around that time.
Right.
So I get that, and so I'm fully on board with Daniel 9. See for Isaiah 53 and Psalm 22, um,
So,
I
S-
completely understand that, like, hmm
Stephen, the apologetic that's the strongest, right, from the
hmm
Christian side, right? The apologetic that works the best is to just
yeah,
admit, and most scholars are okay with this, is that none of the
yeah,
prophecies in the Hebrew Bible are fulfilled in Jesus in their primary context. That's why they'll say that
hmm
the prophecies were concealed. They only speak of Jesus in like a
yeah,
secondary sense or in a partial sense or something of that nature.
hmm
But like if you're a person like me, like I don't accept that as a valid method of doing prophecy. I think it's ridiculous because
yeah,
then it could be about anybody. I can go to the Old Testament and find random out of context verses and make it about me, and that's.
yeah. No, I agree with you, Justin. And see, as a Christian over the past 5 years, I have told people, look, there's an immediate context to this passage, and there's also a messianic context. So I've used that language before whenever I was teaching from the Bible. But anyway, no, it wouldn't work. Because see if I was left in a position where the Maccabean revolt was the immediate context, but you can also fit Jesus into it, I would be less dissuaded. But I can't actually use that excuse because the in order to fit Jesus into Daniel 9, you also need to make assumptions like why would the decree to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem be Nehemiah's letter rather than Darius's decree or
Well,
Cyrus's decree,
the more
which would make more that excuse.
the more problematic thing is actually quite clear. I don't think it's about a decree at all. I realize that you
Yes,
could
I
you could
remember that.
translate it as that, but I personally agree with the scholars who say that it's about the prophecy of Jeremiah in 605, because even
Yep,
as Daniel's praying, it said a word went out. Same verbiage, right?
yep. Yeah, you showed me that on the first call that we had, and yeah, in the translation that you were using, it was just like a word has gone out, and so from when the time when the word went out. So I can see that point of view too. So anyway, Daniel 9, absolutely with beyond a shadow of a doubt, can be refuted in my mind as a deconstructing Christian. See for Isaiah 53, for example, the the thing that I'm struggling with obviously is that the whole book is about Israel, and then there's a random chapter 53, and there's a few verses in chapter 9, and some attributed to Jesus. But see, still, as someone who's struggling with these thoughts, when I read Isaiah 53, there is a striking resemblance that I'm battling with. And so, is there
Hmm.
anything and I, other than the fact that Isaiah 53 is not explicitly messianic and the context of the whole book is about Israel and not messianic, is there anything else about Isaiah 53 that sticks out to you as something that you can go, this doesn't apply to Jesus or this doesn't make
Yeah,
sense?
for sure. So there's two problems
Okay.
other than what you've mentioned. One problem is quite clearly that the reason why this is so reminiscent of Jesus is because Jesus got his ass kicked. He suffered. And so they had to say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what in the Old Testament can I turn to where somebody suffers? And obviously they're gonna like, oh, well, fucking
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah 53, right? Everyone knew about it. So obviously the
Yeah.
reason why it matches is because they went hunting. They already had their target and they're like, where can we stick this arrow, right? So that being said, that's why it
Mm-hmm.
matches up. Now, I mean, they wrote their theology to match it. But let's
Mm-hmm.
look at the passage because there's two things in the passage that make it quite clear it couldn't be about Jesus. It
Mm-hmm.
says, therefore, I will allot him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong. So this
Mm-hmm.
this is referencing war
Yeah. This is
spoil.
war spoil. Okay. Yep.
Right. And if you read the ref of Isaiah, he talks about how they're going to be victorious. We talked about that last time we talked about how
Mm-hmm.
kings are going to bring wealth to Isaiah chapter 60, right? But
Mm-hmm.
in verse 9 or 10, let's see, was it 10? Maybe 20. It's got to be 10. Ba, 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 ba. Could be 9. No, I
Is
gotta go
this
down
the? Oh
further.
yeah, he'll. Is this the offspring thing?
Yeah, where's the
He
offspring?
will see his offspring. I think it's verse 10, but that's just from memory.
Oh, there, yeah, he's hidden in there. It says, "When you make his life an offering for sin, he shall see his offspring and shall prolong his days."
Yeah.
So this makes perfect sense if we're talking about Israel. Yeah. Israel got their asses kicked by the Babylonians as payment for sin.
Mm-hmm.
And because of
Yeah.
that, they have now been healed and their life will be extended and their offspring will, shall live.
Yeah.
They'll live on, right? But if you apply it to Jesus, it's now meaningless.
Mm-hmm. Other than the like the sort of way out that you could have that offspring are sort of metaphorical for Christ's followers.
Well, no, that's not the case because as it turns out, the New Testament says that we're heirs with Christ, meaning we're siblings of him, not offspring of him,
Mm. Right. Yeah.
right?
Okay. So for Isaiah 53, you would say it's not the it's not messianic, and the whole 66 chapters or however long it is, and then 53 is this suffering servant, which is Israel, and there is a resemblance, and then you have two verses, about the war spoil, which doesn't apply, and the offspring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where you would stand with Isaiah 50. See, I had a very quick question actually about Daniel 9 that I forgot to ask. See, when I'm thinking about the historical context about that Antiochus, I don't know if I'm saying that right because I'm only
Yeah.
reading. I've not actually
Well,
watched a video on it, and
well,
tests and
listen,
stuff.
Stephen, you're more than
Hmm.
welcome to send me a message when it
Yeah,
pops into your head. But we've got like 2,000 people
of
here
course.
waiting for a debate to happen.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, no, I get that. Just very quickly, see when Daniel's saying about like the ending of sin and righteousness and things.
Hmm.
That seems a bit out of the historical context because like it sounds like
That's how that's
Jesus
how you
like
know
an
it was written
ending of sin.
during the Antiochian crisis, is because when it starts to make predictions for the future, they fail. Right? So the
Yeah.
goal of apocalyptic literature is to say God's promises haven't failed, they're just around the corner, right? So that's what they
Hmm.
did. God's promises are just around the corner. He hasn't abandoned you, but they're not around the corner. They failed.
Okay.
So and we see that after the Antiochian crisis during the Maccabean period, there were a lot of people who did in fact believe that the prophecies were coming true about the messianic age. In fact, if you read the introduction, probably the best way to word it, we're going to call it the
Mm.
introduction to Second Maccabees. There's an introduction in there that basically is alluding to the idea that, hey, God is fulfilling these promises finally. It's finally happening, right?
Yeah.
And he's about to do the rest of them. And then if you look at some of the coinage from the Maccabean post Maccabean period, it was pretty clear that there's a lot of
Hmm.
messianic overtones. In fact, the coinage of Alexander Jannaeus had a lot of messianic overtones during the Hasmonean period. So there certainly seems to have been this idea that, well, after the Maccabean revolt, when they were successful and they regained their land, that hey, maybe these prophecies were coming true, and that's why Daniel had such good staying power, because it wasn't immediately clear that the prophecy did
Hmm.
fail. It took another 100 years for them to realize that, oh yeah, the prophecy's not going to come true.
Got you. Well, Justin, I'll leave and I'll stay on and listen to some of you. Just going to say one thing. By the way, I do produce semen in between the backbone and my ribs. I've got a rare medical condition where I produce semen between the backbone and the ribs. So I just wanted to let you know that. Anyway, Justin, I don't have anywhere to put my tithes anymore, and so I might be RH for you soon. God bless. Talk to you
All
later.
right. Cheers, Steven. Good to hear from you. All right. W. Steven, he's on his path. I know people get bored with me having some of those non-debate conversations, but it's kind of important. Steven's on the path. He's learning, he's discovering, and we have to give people some space to do that. Air Force, thank you for the super chat. It says DZ, based on all your research and understanding, what do you think should be the Christian position on the death penalty if you were a believer? Oh, well, if I was a believer, I would definitely not be pro death penalty at all. That certainly wouldn't be the case. When I was when I was a Christian, I wasn't. I was absolutely against capital punishment as a Christian. As a Christian, you shouldn't think that you have the right to take anybody's life. That being said, as an atheist, I still fucking agree. I don't believe in capital punishment. That's just my position. I understand some people disagree with me, and that's fine. All right, let's bring in Mr. Dave.
Hello?
Yeah, welcome in, Mr. Dave. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yes and yes.
Awesome. And which God do you believe in?
Christian God, Bible.
Cool. And do you think that the Christian
Bible
God
God.
is all good, partly good, maybe some good, some bad?
100% good.
Oh, 100% good. Okay, interesting. And when you say good, would that mean then like everything God does is by extension good then? Like if God does it, it must be good? Or can God sometimes do bad things?
He is good and he's only good. He is the good. He's the word himself. He is good, yes.
Sure, fantastic. So then let me ask you a question. Is it like ever okay, or is it ever good rather? Is it ever good to murder children?
What do you mean?
So like if I wanted to take, say, like, I don't know, a sword to a baby, is there any situation that would make that okay?
You're talking about in a war? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say in a war, no.
So what's the context of this situation you're
I,
talking about?
I didn't give
It's
you
a
a context.
hypothetical, right?
I didn't give you a context. So I asked you, is there any situation, which means I'm asking you for possible context. Is there any situation in which it would be a good thing to take a sword to a baby?
Oh no. No. Not there's not a situation except if it's by accident in a war.
Okay, so if it's not in a war, then it's not okay.
If it's not in a war, it's not okay.
That's it? That's the only exception?
Yeah, if you do that by accident in a war, that happens in every war. Every war in history
No, no,
happens
no,
something
not
like that.
not an
Not
accident,
only
on
kids, but
purpose.
innocent people.
On purpose.
On purpose.
Yep.
On purpose is not no.
Okay, so if you kill a child on purpose, even in war, it's not good.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let me show you a passage. This is from 1 Samuel 22. And it says, this is King Saul commanding one of his henchmen. It says, then the king said to Doeg, you, Doeg, turn and attack the priests. Doeg, the Edomite, turned and attacked the priests. On that day, killed 85 who are of the linen ephod. Nob, the city of priests, he put to the sword. Men and women, children and infants, oxen, donkeys, sheep, he put to the sword. So men, women, and children he had put to the sword. Now, do you know what preceded this killing?
Go ahead.
So the answer is no, obviously. So what preceded the killing was God's command. In 2 Samuel chapter 2, God decides that he is fed up with Eli and Eli's dastardly children. So he sends a prophet to basically condemn the rest of his grandchildren's lineage. So if we go there, the prophecy starts in verse 22. When Eli was very old, he heard all that his sons were doing, and to all Israel, how he had laid with the women who served at the entrance of the tent of meeting, so on and so forth. Then he says, thus saith the Lord, I revealed myself to the family of your ancestor in Egypt, and they were slaves to the house of Pharaoh. I chose them out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priests, to go up to my altar, to offer incense, to wear the ephod before me, and to give the family of your ancestor all my offerings by fire. Oh, sorry, I got to put the browser up on the vertical stream. Apologize for that, friends.
What verse is that?
All my offerings. I'm in 2 Samuel. I'm sorry, 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 29. We can fast forward a little bit. The rest of the prophecy gets the good part in verse 31. See, a time is coming when I will cut off your strength and the strength of your ancestors' family. No one in your family shall ever live to old age. The only one of you whom I shall not cut off from my altar shall be spared to weep out his eyes and to grieve his heart. All the members of your household shall die by the sword. So what happened in 1 Samuel 22 was the fulfillment of 1 Samuel chapter 2, when God says, I'm going to have your family killed, man, woman, and child. And then he does. So
All right.
there are some non-war occasions where it's okay to kill babies then, right?
No, because this is a fallacy, actually.
So God didn't have the babies killed?
This is a fallacy called presentism.
No, it's not at all. I asked you about your opinion. I didn't give you my opinion. So we'll try this again. You said that this was a bad thing, which is weird because God was the one that orchestrated it. So it must be good.
Wait, but can I explain to you what you're doing?
I know what presentism is, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah, you're trying to compare your white European
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Enlightenment
I didn't
standards
compare.
to the past.
Nope. No, I didn't.
So then what are you using then to
I asked you. I asked you if you think it's good. I didn't say anything about it. I didn't even make a claim about it. Do you think it's good when God kills babies? Yes or no?
God didn't kill the baby, man. It doesn't say that there.
God orchestrated it.
Show me where it says what you said. God did it. Show me where it says that.
It's a prophecy from God. Did you not catch that part? It's a punishment for Eli. It's a prophecy from God.
All right, it says there, I revealed myself to the family of your ancestors in Egypt when they were slaves to the house of Pharaoh. I chosen one of all the tribes of Israel to be the priest, to go to the altar, to offer incense, to wear an ephod before me. And I gave to the family of your ancestor all my offerings by fire from the Israelites. Why then look with greedy eyes at my sacrifices and my offerings, and honor your sons more than me by fanning yourselves on the choicest parts of every offering of my people Israel. Therefore, the Lord the God, honor your sons more than me by fan. Okay, therefore, the Lord the God of Israel declares, I promise that your family and the family of your ancestors should go in and out before me forever. But now the Lord declares, far it be from me, for those who honor me I will honor, and those who despise
hold
me shall be
on.
treated with
It says
contempt.
gifting suspended for 10 minutes. This behavior is not in line with our policies. What behavior? Gifting is suspended for 10 minutes on this live. Reason, limited interaction. Learning. What do you mean limited? Fuck you, TikTok. Sorry, go ahead, mister.
Alright, so far from me honor I will honor, and those who despise me shall be treated with contempt. See, a time is coming when I will cut off your strength and the strength of your ancestors' family. No one in your family shall ever live to old age. The only one of you whom I shall not cut off from the altar shall be spared to weep out his eyes and grieve his heart.
Yeah,
All the
so
members.
when it says the only one of you whom I shall not cut off, who's the I?
God.
That's right. God's the one cutting off the people. There you go.
And what does that mean? Cut him off from the altar? Like he's cutting off
No,
communion between them?
he's killing them.
Your family shall never live. Grieve his heart. All members of your household shall die by the sword.
That's how prophecies work. Prophecies only come true when the man up above makes them come true.
All right, so go to 36. Yeah, so that's all that's saying there is a metaphor.
No, it's not a metaphor. So what he's saying is that he's going to murder all of them, and then he does.
How do you know he does that?
because he says he's going to do it. It says they shall die by the sword. We know what dying by the sword means, not a metaphor. And then they did die by the sword.
But what I understand from there is that he's saying that the people who don't follow him will be cut off. Is that not what it's saying?
No, it's not at all what he said. Like you weren't even reading it. He says the only one of you. Who's you?
The people of Israel?
No, the lineage of Eli. This is a punishment for Eli and Eli's lineage. That was
So what did
that was the
Eli do?
beginning of the conversation. It's like you weren't even listening. Eli has 2 sons that were desecrating the altar. And he didn't correct them, Hophni and Phinehas. So he said, because you allowed this to go on, here's the punishment. You obviously aren't worthy to serve. And because of that, I'm going to have your family murdered. And then he does.
Yeah, I don't see the contradiction there.
I didn't say there's a contradiction. We'll try this again. So no one said contradiction. Try to put your listening ears on this time. I'm simply asking you, is it good when God has people killed even when it's not in a war?
Oh yeah, it is because it's blasphemy.
Okay, fantastic. So we finally got to the point, which is that your first statement was wrong. You said that it's never okay, even to intentionally kill a baby in war. Now we're finding even when you're not in war, it's okay to intentionally kill a baby. So it seems like you're contradicting yourself, not me.
If I create something, I can destroy it too.
Okay, so just to be clear, you're gonna take back your previous statement. There are occasions in which it's okay to kill babies.
If God wants to,
Gotcha.
It's
Nailed
blasphemy,
it.
then that's God.
Nailed it. Fantastic. You finally got it. Okay. So you do agree then that there are occasions in which it's okay to kill babies. If God told Mr. Dave to take a sword to a baby, would it be right to obey?
If God sends a prophet and that prophet brings miracles and I know it's from God, I will do whatever that God says. If he proves it through prophets and miracles.
Well, it's funny because I didn't even ask you if you would. I just asked you in your worldview, would it be okay? So then if God told you, I don't know, to take out 10 babies, you'd still do it?
Is there going to be a prophet and is he going to show miracles from God?
Yep. Sure will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. If God said, if he showed up with miracles and a prophet and said, listen, I need you before you take the 10 babies, don't kill them with a sword. Take the 10 babies, grind them up into baby paste and make some good, baby paste Krabby Patties and grill them out on your grill for lunch. Then that would be the right thing to do as well.
Yeah, but that's something that's not going to happen.
Okay. Just checking. Okay. Well, you've demonstrated that you're dangerous. We appreciate you playing the game. And
by what standards, sir? By European standards?
No. By the standard of it's never okay to turn babies into baby paste patties and eat them. I could be wrong, guys. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy here. Maybe it's a good thing that we murder babies and eat them. I was always told that cannibalism was wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know. Who knows? I'm just a silly human. You know what I mean? I don't have objective morals. You know what I mean? Oh, well. Well, that was a good time. Let's let me grab a couple. Oh, I got to write them down. We got a baby paste really early. What was his name? It was something Dave, Mr. Dave, and we'll just do baby paste. Dope. Right off the bat, Mr. Dave. I hope your family doesn't watch this, Mr. Dave. All right. Derek, thank you so much for sending out 50 DZ Debate gifted memberships. I really appreciate that, friend. That is huge. It's humongous. It's outlandish and absurd, but I really appreciate that, friend. And Derek also, with a super chat, says, keep that Ohio-based barbecue going, just like them Buckeyes. Fuck, the Buckeyes are cooking. Buckeyes are cooking hard. They're like, listen, they're steamrolling. We're gonna have to change their name to the Ohio State Steamrollers soon. And Bill, thank you for the $20 super chat. It says, this is my 67th birthday. Well, happy birthday. And this super chat is my birthday gift to myself. Well, fuck. Happy birthday. I'm not sure how that works. I love your lives, and as a blue noser, am ecstatic to hear you will be on the line with Shannon Q. Keep doing Doug's work. Rock hard for the, well, thank you, Bill. I really appreciate that, and happy birthday. And yes, I should be on the line a couple times this month. Wednesday coming up, this coming Wednesday, I'll be on with Matt. I don't know when my appointment is with Shannon just yet, but she is amazing. I still, from time to time, just go back to watch her and Darth Dawkins. She cooked him hard. And last one for now, Master Machetier, thank you for the $10 super chat, says, is the Crimson Worm life cycle interpretation in Psalm 22:6 a Christian apologetic development or an ancient Jewish source? Also connect the worm sacrificial death to messianic prophecy? No. This is a dumb Jewish apologetic. If it goes back to anything, even vaguely Jewish, it's probably Kabbalistic. There we go. It's probably Kabbalistic. It certainly isn't going to be related to like proper Judaism. That would be asinine. Kabbalistic, sure. Yeah, there's definitely some crossover between Kabbalism and Christianity. Buddy, there's nothing on my neck for you. I know you didn't get weaned properly, but I promise you're never gonna find a nipple on my neck, okay? You have to settle down there, bud. All right, let's get our next guest in here. It looks like it's gonna be Sean. Welcome in, Sean. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yes.
Awesome. And which God do you believe in?
Jehovah.
Awesome. And do you also believe in Jesus?
Yes.
I assume so, because Jews never say Jehovah because it's not his name. So, do you think that the God of the Bible is all good, partly good, or maybe not so good? Maybe sometimes good, sometimes bad.
He's holy.
Yeah, but is he good?
Yes.
Awesome. So then you would say then by extension, everything he does is good and all of his laws are good.
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe in objective morals or relative morals?
Objective or relative?
Yeah, relative morals meaning they change with time and culture. Objective would mean that they don't change with time and culture.
I believe most of the people believe in they change with time and culture.
Sure, that's what I believe, but I'm asking what you believe.
Well, if you're thinking about like a person like me, I believe God's morals are timeless. So
Okay, so they don't change with time.
no, they don't.
Okay, that's all we needed. I mean, I figured that was your position. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So then, was it ever okay, for example, to kidnap women when you go to war and make them be war brides?
It depends.
Well, I don't know. What's it depend on?
What the instructions were on the people
But
going to war. I know where you're going with this.
I'm sure you do. That's why I figured you'd have an answer ready, but I don't know if you do. So,
one question?
you're saying there are occasions in which it's okay to kidnap women and make them war brides?
Any order from God is valid
Okay, so no matter what it is, there's no order that would be invalid then.
because here's why. When you look in the mirror, what do you see?
That didn't answer my question though. Is there any invalid order? Like, is there anything if God told you to do it, you shouldn't do?
I'm giving you the answer why.
Well, I know
I said,
why. I'm not asking you why. I'm asking you the logical extension, right? Which is, are there any orders that if God gave you, it would be right to disobey them?
I just tried to ask him a question. I'm gonna answer it for everybody in the
Well,
chat.
I just need a yes or no. So
When I look in the
yes or
mirror,
no, are there any orders in which God would give you where it would be right to disobey him?
no, and here's the
Oh,
reason why.
thank you. That's all you had to say. I don't know why that's so hard. I don't know why I have to pry it out of you.
I want to. You didn't have to pry it out of me. I want to expand on the point because I asked you a question. I said, when you look
Well,
in the mirror,
Sean, you can't
what do
expand on a point if you don't answer it. That's not how expansions work. Like if I wanted to expand on an answer to
I'll
the
give you.
question, I have to first answer it and then I could expand on it.
Okay, then I answered the question. So now can I
Now,
expand?
yes, now you get to expand. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. When anybody, all 518 people, when you look in the mirror, what you see is something created by God. We're all creations of God.
Well,
Without God, we
that's what you believe.
without okay. Without God, we wouldn't be here. It's not a belief; it's a fact. So whether you believe it or not, it's still a fact.
Well, you
So
certainly haven't demonstrated it to be a fact, and it's kind of irrelevant to tonight's talking point. The talking point isn't whether or not God is real. For tonight's talking point, I can just tell you that God is real, and He's right here. This is God. So, bada bing, bada boom. That one's over. We can move on to something more interesting. So, um,
for
if in
somebody who
fact,
said, for somebody who got upset,
if in fact
let me answer the
God
question.
told you to go to war and kidnap a woman and make her your war bride, would you do it?
God gets to do with what He wants to do with
It's weird
His
that you
thing.
can't say yes or no. Would you do it if God told you to?
You already know the answer to the question.
Then how come you
Yes.
can't say it? Oh, there you go. You would do it. That's all we needed to know. That's all we needed was an actual answer. And if God told you, that
God
in the
told
same
me to,
fashion that we find in, because in Deuteronomy 21 there's two things that we find, right? Not only is there a woman who was kidnapped in war, but also the man had to, well, got to rather murder the entire family of the woman, right? So she got 30 days to mourn her entire dead family and then he could go into her, right? So if God commanded you to go murder all of her brothers and father and grandfather and even any of the children of the household and then make her your war bride, it would be right to obey that.
I'd bury them until they were nothing but ash, and then I'd take her
Yeah.
as my quote unquote
Yeah.
war bride.
Yeah, and then you just
But
go into her.
no,
Do you think consent
but
matters?
you do know that this is going to happen again
Oh, I certainly
when
don't
God
know that. So,
when God
do you
sees
think consent matters?
do I think consent matters? Yes, I think consent matters.
Just not in
Yes.
war, because when you go to war, then you can kidnap a women and make them your war brides.
Nobody's doing that today. They
I
were
didn't
doing
say they
that back.
were. Okay. So
We're
you don't
talking
believe
about
it. So you definitely don't believe in consent, and you definitely think it's okay to murder babies, and you definitely think it's okay to kidnap women in
no.
war. It's pretty wild.
Hold up. You putting words into my mouth. Can I expand?
Nah, I think you've said enough, and I don't want to get my live stream taken down. We're we're fucking rolling today, friends. We've already got two in the bag. We got two baby murderers in the bag already today, guys. This is gonna be a wild one. Can't wait. Cannot wait to see what the rest of the night brings. Oh goodness. I love it. Listen, if you ever wanted to know, is religion dangerous? Yeah, the answer is yes, it's dangerous. That guy just admitted he'd murder babies and then kidnap a woman to be his wife. 1020 Carrie says, Justin, you need to stop using that tuna scented aftershave. Well, thank you for the super chat. And you know what? As it turns out, I don't wear tuna scented aftershave. I think what's happening, one of the one of the members on the channel here mentioned it was because they were weaned so early that he wants to nurse on me. He thinks I'm mama, right? And that certainly could be the case. I would believe that because they were taken from mom super early. I don't know the whole backstory because even the shelter didn't know the whole backstory, but they were tiny when they got them. 1 million ants. Thank you for the 666. Is Justin having to read our super chat? Schism rhetoric under protest is the highlight of my day. Bless you, mate. Rock hard for horizontal. Well, 1 million. I do love you. I appreciate you being here and supporting the stream. But also remember, there's no schism. No schism. It's not real. And Trent, thank you for the super chat. Says Justin, I want a refund on my tithe to Doug. His promised blessings for the saints have not worked at all, and no Doug works in mysterious ways. Crap. Listen, Doug didn't promise you that the Saints would win. Okay, Doug, as it turns out, Doug's not that much of a football fan. He's not so much past the pill. He's more like past the rock. Maybe try back during basketball season. Results may vary. Past performance is not indication of future performance. We got the toasted bun. Thank you for the super chat. It says, the first time I found your live, I was playing Apex Legend. Well, congratulations. I'm so old, I don't know what that means. Now, every time you go live and I'm home, I just have to play Apex. Good times. Thanks. Well, listen, I'm glad for it. I love a good ritual. It's a really good time to have a ritual, something comfortable that you can keep on the schedule. And Great Big James says, dang it. All this talk of Ashurbanipal and Gilgamesh, now I'm going to have the Mesopotamians they might be giants stuck in my head all night. It's been a hot minute since I've heard that one. But yes, if you don't know that song, friends, go check it out. It's a good one. And Dirt Pizza, I think Dr. Pizza is what it really says, but it really could read Derp Isa. The Holy Spirit is the feeling of relief you get when you rationalize all the horrible shit in the book to be okay. It is! You nailed it, right? Once you rationalize killing babies and kidnapping women, that feeling that washes over you is their Holy Spirit. Steve, good to see you, my friends. I think I have a logic fetish. I can't stop coming to conclusions. That is the case. That is the case. And there's nothing wrong with that. Last super chat for now. Drew, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Let's get some W's for Drew. Says one of our 3-year-old cats has recently taken to licking on our arms. She didn't do this when she was a kitten. You know, Drew, this is an interesting behavior. I've seen this with a lot of cats. My last cat, Pie, did that a lot. And I did some experimentation. So I thought initially it might be because in the summertime I get sweaty, I'm outside working, or I'd come home from the gym and I've got that salty sweat, right? I thought, I bet that Pie's licking my arm because he likes the saltiness. I checked the internet. Nobody on the internet seemed to confirm it. So I tested it. I tested seeing if he would lick my arm when it was wet but not sweaty. Wouldn't do it. I tried this multiple times. And then I purposely went outside and sweat and got real sweaty and see if he would lick my arm. And he always did every time. So I have no other conclusion that I can come to other than my cat, I think, likes the, he likes the saltiness, and a lot of animals do. Animals will climb dams. Goats will climb on dams to lick the salt off the rocks. It just is one of those things, right? It's a mineral. It's a mineral need. All right, let's get prayer in here, and then we'll keep the conversations rolling. If you're watching on TikTok, hit that guest request button. If you're watching on YouTube, the link to join is on the screen. It's tiny.cc/dzguest. There's a clickable version of the link in the description of the video if you don't want to type it in, however. Prayer, welcome in. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yes.
Cool. And which God do you believe in?
I'm the God of the Bible.
Okay, so you're a Christian?
Yes.
Awesome. And do you think that the God of the Bible is all good, partly good, maybe sometimes good, sometimes bad?
God is all good.
Okay, so then all he does is good and all of his commands are good.
Yes.
Okay. Is it ever good to kill somebody for a crime that they didn't commit? Say, like, I don't know, say their church leader or their mayor or their king or their president committed a crime. Would it be right to kill the people for it?
Yes.
Oh, can you name a situation?
Any situation. The situation you just described, maybe just killing them for doing nothing wrong.
We'll try this again. So my question is, if a leader of a people group commits a sin, should the people group get murdered for what the leader did?
Yes.
Okay, can you name me an example where that would be like a good thing?
Like if like they can use the people as a scapegoat to
Yeah, I'm just
they can
waiting for
use
an example. Can you give me so like if Donald Trump, let's
like
say Donald Trump cheated on his wife, would it ever be fair to punish his constituents?
yes.
Oh, interesting. So imagine for a moment that I'm a Donald Trump constituent, well, I mean, technically I am because I live in the USA, even though I didn't vote for him, but pretend for a moment that that I did vote for him, right? So, if Donald Trump commits adultery, would it be right to have me punished for his adultery?
Yes. Why won't that be good?
Okay, so you'd be okay then in America if we locked people up for crimes they never committed?
Yes. Why won't that be okay? Like why won't that be okay?
Okay. Because we believe in justice, and you're a clown. I can't believe that was a real person. Like I know he probably thought he was saying something smart, but he really sounds a lot like a troll at that moment. Yeah, he can leave now. Yeah. If you think you can randomly just lock people up for crimes they never committed, I think you're sick in the head. Trent, thank you for the super chat. Says, I know it's wrong to kill a baby. I was just following orders, though. Sounds a bit 1939, huh? You're right. Rock hard for Doug and gay for Justin. Well, thank you, Trent. Yeah, you nailed it, right? When you believe in a God, it starts with, hey, let's worship God, and it ends with get in the fucking train. That's what it means to believe in a God of this nature, where you have to commit to divine command theory. And Flux Chandler, thank you for the $10 super chat, says all the chatters who were upset about the first two callers got to learn to be patient. We learned a little bit, and then we were rewarded with 2 baby pasters in a row. Banger of a night, in my opinion. Flux, I do agree. It's hard too, because typically the people who aren't real opposition, they know that they have to get into the box early or else they'll never get in. So they do get in at the beginning of the show typically. So last super chat from Crispy Cheese. It says, I'm here for baby paste. Praise Doug and go Bears. Well, Crispy, we've got 2 already. I can guarantee we're going to have some more. All right. PhD Fee is trying to connect again. We'll see if they'll be able to connect this time. Welcome back to PhD. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God?
Yes and yes.
Cool. Which God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so you're a Christian.
Sure.
Sure, yeah. Do you think that the God of the Bible is all good, partly good, or maybe a mixture of both?
Neither one. I think he's merciful and justful.
I
In
didn't
the
ask
Bible does he say
I didn't
yeah.
ask about mercy or justice. I talked about goodness, right? So is he all good?
Yeah, the Bible doesn't say God is good. It says that he's justful and
Okay, so
merciful. Like,
you're just not gonna answer the question? You're too cowardly?
I mean, that's not power. That's a false
I
false
didn't
statement
ask
given.
you that. I asked you, do you as a human being believe that God is all good?
Sure, I can say he's good, sure. But I mean, that's not what it says, though.
But
Sure.
I didn't ask you what the Bible said. I asked you your opinion. In your opinion, do you think that
I gave you my opinion.
do you think that the God is all good?
Yeah, one more time. No.
Okay, then we agree. What are you doing here? Are you drunk? You
He's
concussed?
justful. No, he's merciful and justful. Maybe you learn the difference.
Well, you can't be justful and merciful.
You
You
also
can't
can't be an
be you
atheist
can't
and
be
pretend to
you
have
can't be you
morality.
can't be both of them at the same time, right? So for example, mercy is the suspension of justice, right? So if you are just, that means you can only be partly just and partially merciful if you're at least partly merciful. They're diametrically opposed. They're dichotomies. That's why you can't be perfectly just and perfectly merciful. You have to pick a percentage of each. But as it turns out, I don't think that God is either of those things. Let me ask you a question about justice. Do you think it's ever okay, say, to punish a wife for the sin of her husband?
Do I think it's okay?
Is it just?
Probably not. I
So
mean,
it
it
wouldn't be
depends the
just.
context.
Well,
What's
she
the
didn't commit the
context?
crime. The context is he decided to commit a sin. She has nothing to do with it. It was his entire decision.
Is it just?
Is
Is
it
that what you're
just to
asking?
punish the wife for the crimes of her husband?
Oh, probably not really, no.
No, of course not. Now, if in fact the crime, let's say, was adultery, let's say he committed adultery and then he covered it up, right? Would
Okay.
it be okay to punish the wife for the adultery of the husband?
No, I don't think it would be okay to
Right.
punish someone who didn't commit the crime.
Because we think that would violate the definition of justice,
Well,
right?
yeah, which verb are you talking about Exodus or
There we go.
Corinthians?
Neither. So what I'm talking about is going to be in 2 Samuel chapter 12.
Okay.
Have you read the story of David and Bathsheba?
A little bit, not a lot of it, no.
Sure. So in chapter 12, Nathan confronts David and provides the punishment for uh, committing adultery with Bathsheba and then also having Uriah killed. And there are two punishments. You probably remember at least one of them. Do you remember either of them?
Can you just get to the point, bro?
So you don't remember either. That's fine. So
Well,
the
you're the
one
one to make
punishment that
the question, right?
typically is what people remember is that he has the son of David killed. He makes the son sick. He dies 7 years later. The other punishment, which most people forget, is that he has 10 of David's wives raped by a member of his own household. In fact, he tells you that this is going to happen in verse 11. He says, "Thus saith the Lord, I will raise up trouble against you from within your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor. And he shall lie with your wives in broad daylight, for you did it secretly, but I would do this thing before all Israel in broad daylight." And then he does. A member
Wait,
of his own
what verse is
household,
this?
2
What
Samuel
verse does that say?
12, 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 11 and 12.
Okay.
And then, if you fast forward to chapter 16, the prophecy comes true. Absalom storms the palace, takes 10 of David's wives up to the top of the palace, and in a display of force over his father, as he's trying to usurp the throne, sexually assaults 10 of his wives in front of all Israel.
Okay, and what's your question?
So my question was it just that David's wives got raped for the sin of David?
Well, you first have to define what justice is.
We already did. We agreed that justice means you don't get punished for crimes you didn't commit. So, do you want to change your definition? Do you think that justice sometimes does entail that you get punished for crimes you never committed?
Wait, aren't we talking about morality here?
No, we're talking about justice. So, do you think that the word justice
Oh,
entails punishment for crimes that you never committed?
I mean, I would sure, yeah, I would use that, sure, yeah.
Okay, so then what God did was unjust.
Not necessarily, no. Can we give some context on the paragraph before that?
Yeah. Apparently, you haven't read the punishment chapter. It's just Nathan.
Well,
Nathan
I heard
comes
that
to
punishment. I
him.
heard that punishment.
Nathan said to David, "You are the man, thus saith the Lord, God of Israel. I anointed you king over Israel, and I rescued you from the hand of Saul. I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your bosom, and gave you the house of Israel and the house of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would have added much more. Why have you despised the word of the Lord to do what is evil in his sight? You have struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and have taken his wife to be your wife, and have killed him with the sword of the Ammonites. Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from your house, for you have despised me and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife." And then the punishment, "Thus saith the Lord, I will raise up trouble against you from within your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbors," so on and so forth.
Okay.
So the
Well,
punishment that David receives is akin to a property tit for tat. God says, "Listen, you took Uriah's wife. I'm going to have yours taken."
Okay.
Do you
Well, I'd
think
say
that
that.
was fair to the women?
Well, the claim that you're saying that God is not just because of David's wives or daughters
What
were taken.
I
I think
asked you
I
about
think
this specific instance. Was it just that David had 10 of that God had 10 of David's wives raped?
no, I wouldn't say that that was just no, but
Okay, so then God might be just, but he's not 100% just. Sometimes he does things that are unjust.
well, he confronted David through Nathan,
So what?
and he enforced the consequences of David.
But so what? We're talking about the punishment, whether or not the punishment was just.
But where in the verse did it say to God? Where did God say do this or this is allowed?
He says, "I'm doing it," right? He says, "I will raise up trouble against you from within your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor." The I is Yahweh.
Hmm.
That's
That's
God
what you're
doing
saying.
it.
That's the verse.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't say it would be just, but I think that he is punishing. What's his name? David.
The wives got raped, not David. Listen, if
Yeah, I
David got
understand. That's the
raped, then
consequence.
maybe that's a just punishment. But David didn't get raped; the wives did.
Well, he's saying, well, yeah, but from that context, he's saying that David's wives, he's declaring that David's own actions
So
caused the
just
punishment
to
of his
be clear,
wives.
then you think sometimes it is just to rape women for crimes they never committed?
Well, that's not. That's the problem. You're saying that God's ordering the rape of his women. He
He
didn't do
did.
that at all.
He did. Yeah.
Mm.
We'll read it again. I know reading comprehension is hard for some people, but God is the one causing it to happen because this is a punishment. Remember, punishments are caused by God here. It says, "I will raise up trouble against you." That's God saying, "I'm going to cause the trouble. The trouble that's coming, I'm causing it from within your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor." God's the one causing this whole mess to happen.
Yeah, but where does it say that? That specifically about the great part. Where does it say that? Doesn't say that at all.
Because it happens in chapter 16. A member of his own household puts him to the sword, takes 10 of David's wives to the top of the palace and sleeps with them in broad daylight as a display of force over his father. When he's running for his life, David's running for his life so he doesn't get killed by his own son, just as predicted.
I mean, the way I'm seeing it is like it's predict like if anything, he's warning him actually of it.
He's not warning him.
It's
He's
not.
saying, "I'm causing it."
Mm,
Well,
I
try this
mean,
again.
yeah,
Try
but
this again.
he's
He says,
he's warning him,
"I
bro.
will take your wives." What does it mean when God says, "I'm doing something"? Is he warning or is he causing?
But him taking with God taking the
Is he
wives has nothing to do
warning
with
or is he causing?
well, he'd be taking them. He'd
Is
be
he warning them or is he causing it to happen?
neither one of them.
No, try again.
If I
I will is a statement of causation.
yeah, him saying I would take your wives as an equivalent
There you
to your
go.
wife getting raped.
I will take is God causing it to happen.
No, you're interpreting I would take to you're gonna get raped. I'm
No,
allowing them to get raped. You're totally
that's what that
misconstruing that.
means. I will
No,
take.
that's your interpretation.
No, that's not my interpretation. That's what the book
Yeah, it
says.
is.
God says, "I will
You-
take." What does it mean to take another person's woman?
the- I mean, well, in this case, it's God, so it's like he's gonna like
What's
uh I would say sleep with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When you take someone's woman, you're essentially kidnapping them or taking them by force. That's what's happening.
Yes, but
They're not
again,
yours. They're not yours to
then
take.
okay. Like, can I? Are you say a sentence, and when you're done, let me say a sentence.
It turns out I do let you say sentences. You just want to
Yeah, I know, but
cry
I don't want to
every
talk
time I
over.
talk.
No. Well, let's not pretend you're totally like forgetting the part where you think that you know what good is, right?
Oh,
Which is good, which is fine, but you're gonna critique the Bible.
I certainly do, which is why you're running from it, right? Because you want to do a really dumb precept argument rather than read the Bible, and that's boring for everyone here. We'd rather hold your feet to the
Yeah.
fire and see if you're willing to affirm that having David's wives raped is good.
Well, that's the problem. He's not endorsing the violence or forcing anyone to commit it. The
He's
passage
causing it.
literally, he's not endorsing it. That's not
We'll try this.
causing it, dude.
He says, I will raise up trouble against you from within your own house. What's the trouble that's risen up against David within his own house when you fast forward in the story? What is it?
I hear you, but you're missing my
No,
entire argument.
you didn't hear me because you didn't answer me. What's the trouble?
Well, the trouble would be that David's getting punished, and through this punishment, he's saying that he's
Wrong.
going to use, take his wives against him.
No, what's the trouble that arises within his house? He tells you one verse prior. He says, now therefore, the sword shall never depart from your house. He's talking about military violence. There will be violence within your own house. And he says, I will raise up trouble against you from within your own house. That trouble is named Absalom. He's the one that rises up against David and tries to take his throne.
Well, wait a minute. Are you disagreeing that David did something wrong?
No, I know David did something wrong. The wives
Cool. So he
didn't.
got punished for it.
The wives didn't do it. That's what you're missing. I know that like women don't mean anything to Christian men, but as it turns out, I don't think even if David did a horrible thing, that the women should get raped.
Well, he didn't necessarily say that they should get raped. He said that
They got
one more time,
raped.
you are told. Yes, but don't in the Bible did God say
They got raped. God says I'm causing it.
No, what he said is he's going to cause military inconvenience.
He says he's raising up the trouble and he's going to cause the wives to be taken. What happens when the wives are taken?
Well, sure. Wait, are you equivalent of taking wives equivalent to the?
It's crazy. The cognitive dissonance is so thick here. You can literally cut it with like with a popsicle stick. It's wild.
That's not.
So what happened? What happened when the wives were taken? What happened?
Yeah, I understand that they got endorsed to do certain things that they were.
That's right. And did God say He's causing that?
Well, he caused, sure. Technically, he caused the
Okay.
sure.
So God caused the wives to be taken and raped.
No, you're adding the great part. Nowhere did it say that God chose them to get raped.
Yeah, it did. It says, I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbors. So He took the women and gave them to the man who raped them. That's God saying, I'm doing this. I'm taking these women and giving them to this guy, and then he raped them. That's God doing it. Okay. You can cry all you want about your lack of reading comprehension, but that's what the text says. Without lies, Christianity dies. That's what we say around here. Isn't lying a sin?
Wait, hold on. Are you claiming that consequences don't affect your family?
No, what I'm claiming is that consequences are not the same as punishments. Punishments are decided upon. So this was a punishment, not an inevitable consequence. An inevitable consequence would be like if I committed a heinous crime and then I went to prison, the consequence would be that my son would be fatherless. That's an uncontrollable consequence. That's different from a punishment. The punishment is what the judge does. The judge says, because you did this, I'm doing that. The judge has control over the punishment, not the unintended consequence. What we find in 2 Samuel 12 is a punishment that God had full control over. No one forced his hand.
Okay. Well, I mean, the Bible didn't really command anyone to rape David's wife, bro. It just says it's
Yeah, it does. Okay, so not only does it command people to rape others, this is a clear instance where God directly says he's causing it.
Well, wait, in Samuel 2 12 through 11 says, word for word, when you kept commenting on raise trouble, he will raise up trouble against David. Would you consider that as a prophecy?
It is a prophecy and a punishment. It's a punishment for what happened to David. Just like in the next paragraph after this, he also says that the child is going to die.
Okay, so but which one is doing this though? Is it God doing this, or is it the people
God
with the
is
free
doing
will?
it.
So
God's doing
God can
it.
grape someone.
God,
God is
God,
graping good
yes.
girls.
God is causing
Wait,
it to happen. God causes human beings to do all kinds of shit in the Bible. Have you not read Joshua? Have you not read Exodus?
wait a minute. So if God, wait a
In
minute. So if God
In
gives,
Joshua 11, who hardens the hearts of the Canaanites to cause them to come out to war?
wait a minute. So if God gives
In
you grape,
Joshua
makes you
11, who hardens the heart of
this
the
guy.
Canaanites to cause them to come out to war?
I mean, sure, God.
Okay, so can God do things to affect a person's will?
No, God cannot change someone's free
Oh,
will.
oh,
No.
you're definitely wrong then. So we'll just read the passage since you're not honest.
Wait a minute.
It says,
Wait,
there
hold
was
on.
no
Can we
town
understand
that
something,
made
man?
peace with the Israelites except the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon, all were taken in battle. For it was the Lord's doing to harden their hearts so that they would come against Israel in battle. So God hardened the hearts of people to cause them to come out to battle. That's tampering with free will.
Okay, but did he do it though?
Yeah, he did.
Like
He
for
hardened
example,
their hearts and caused them to come out to war. That's how causation works. God, when
what about
God says,
Job?
I'm causing it to happen, that means he's causing it to happen.
Wait. What about Job though? When he unalived his entire family, right? And
What about
unalived his
Job? I'm not talking about
crops.
Job.
Well, it's the same thing there. He
There's no
did
rape in
things.
Job.
No, but it's the same logic, right? Your logic has to be consistent. God did things to Job's
No,
family, unalived Job's family. Job still came to God.
listen, I have literally no idea what your point is with Job. In Job is another
Well,
horrific story where God has people senselessly killed who didn't commit a crime. They're
yeah, but
murdered so God could settle a bet with the enemy that he created that he has the power to destroy and chooses not to.
well, sure. Can there be good without evil?
Yeah.
Explain it. What's the difference between good? How
What
would you know what good
was
is?
was God good before he created Satan?
Was God good before? Like I said, you keep fucking strawman. I
Was
never said
God
God was
good
good.
before he created Satan? Yes or no?
Hey, do you know what? Do you know like
Was
love
God
means?
good before he created Satan? Yes or no?
Let's try Arabic. No, but
Is
yeah,
God good? Is God good before he created Satan? Yes or no?
no. God's just. One more time. There's a difference
I,
between
I,
good and
so
just.
so
The
again, you
topic
don't
answers
think that God
irrelevant.
is good, so then we agree.
Well, show me one Bible verse. God Himself says, "I am good." If you
I don't
can,
need
I'll
to.
concede.
I'm again, you're the
Well, you
one that said
can.
he was
That's fine.
good.
I did. Oh my God, what an idiot! I objectively didn't say that. Wow,
You
dude, you're
did.
actually embarrassing. When did I
Literally just
objectively
like 30
said God is
seconds ago.
just? Show
Also,
me that verse. God says, "I'm good."
Psalm 100 verse 5 says God is good.
No, where God Himself says, "I am good." For the love of God, dude, listen.
Psalm 100 verse 5.
Yeah, go ahead, read the
God
verse. Who's
it
speaking?
says that
Who's
it says
speaking?
that it says that God is good. And just to be
Exactly.
clear, Jesus says that the Father is good.
Yeah, give me the verse.
Jesus says no one is good except for the Father. Do you
Okay.
know of it? When
Is
the
that
rich
second person point of view?
when a rich young ruler comes,
No.
that's what he says to him. He says, "Good teacher," and he says, "No one is good except for the Father."
Okay, so if no one is good except for the Father, is that the Father speaking? Because
It's
the Father
Jesus
says He's the
speaking. I'm sorry. Do you think
Prince
that
of
Jesus's
Destruction.
words? Do you think Jesus's words are authoritative or not?
Sure.
Okay, well, Jesus said the Father is good. Jesus said to him, "Why do you call me good? No one is good but God alone." So, according to your own religion, God is in fact
Uh-huh.
good. Congratulations, you have again failed to read your own book. This is why
It's not
Christians
about
look
failing
so,
to read them.
this is why Christians look like clowns when they come on my live stream. They make dumb claims about the book that they've never read.
Says the guy who's running away from an actual syllogism of what good is, because you can't define it because you're an
I
atheist
don't
because
need
you
to.
welcome an ego.
We're talking about your definition of good, and what we've
No,
demonstrated is that you've got contradictions within your own definition of good, which is why I always start out by asking
okay,
you
what's good?
really easy questions about what you think is good, and then I watch you walk it back as we start reading the Bible. It's the funnest thing. I don't even have to make claims about good. I'm
What's
not
good?
making claims about objectively good. My
Okay,
claim
what's good
as
then?
my claim always is that until you can prove that objective morals exist, good is subjective, and
They
that's
do
all you
exist.
have, and they don't
They do.
exist.
They do exist.
They
They
certainly
do
don't.
exist.
They certainly don't.
Just because you don't. Just because you
They
don't like
certainly
a
don't
verse,
exist.
that buddy. Just because you don't
Prove
like a
it.
verse
Prove
doesn't
they
prove it
exist.
might be wrong.
Prove they
Prove you're
exist.
not in a dream.
Prove
Prove
they
you're not in a
exist.
dream.
Prove they
Prove
exist.
you're not in a dream. Prove you're not in
Okay,
a
so you
dream.
can't prove it. Just to be clear, you
And you
can't
can't
prove
you're not in a
that
dream either.
you can't prove that objective morals exist.
And you can't prove. Maybe fix your wording. You
I'm
can't
sorry.
prove you're not in a dream.
Can you
Stop.
prove that objective morals exist? Yes or no?
One more time. Can you prove you're not in a dream? Yes or no?
Run away
can't,
from
right?
the question if you're a coward.
No.
Run away from the question
No.
if you're a coward. Run away from the
Use your
question if you're a
lips
coward. Let's get the dodge counter open. We're gonna get the
and
dodge
proceed.
counter up.
Yes.
It's crazy because all he has to do is say yes or no.
Wait, Kip, I
You
didn't
can
get my
you can
keys.
cry all you
Let me get my
want that I'm
keys.
gonna hold you accountable for the words
Yeah,
that
I'm gonna
leave
check
your
on my keys
mouth.
for you.
We're on dodge number 2. Can you demonstrate that morals are objective?
There you go.
Dodge number 3. Oh, you
Yes, I
can.
said.
Okay, let's do
Born
it.
in
Give me the
India.
argument. Give me the argument. Also, read Colossians 3:18. What's Colossians 3:18 say?
I don't know. Can you read it for me? I don't have a Bible on me.
So I know you haven't read the book. Do you think when I read
Well,
Colossians 3:18 that it's going to look good on you?
Go ahead. All right, lying to me. Well, you don't know what good is. You're pretending to be.
I already told you good is subjective until you can prove otherwise. Colossians 2:18. So do not let anyone disqualify you, insisting on self-abasement. Hit the right fucking verse. Maybe 2:12.
If it's subjective, then there's nothing that you're saying is wrong. You fucking donut. Wow.
Yeah, subjective morals still exist. They're just not objective. Just like your favorite color is still your favorite color. It's not an objective favorite color. This is therefore, as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience. Do you think you've done that today, PhD?
Therefore, God's chosen ones, holy.
Do you think this is reminiscent of your behavior right now?
Well,
Do you think the fruits of the Spirit are pouring out to you?
Well, wouldn't that be subjective, like you said?
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think humility and meekness is? Do you think that it's humility, or do you think it's humble and meek to call people donuts?
Well, do you know what a donut stands for?
So you're not going to answer the question. Do you think that it's humble and meek to call people names that disagree with you?
Wait, is a donut a name?
So you're not going to answer the question. Do you think that it's humble and meek to call people names?
It's not a name.
Okay, so then you're just not going to answer the question. It's okay. We're used to cowards being up here not answering questions. It's fine.
Says the guy who's interrupting me every 5 seconds. That's enlightening.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, you're a waste of space, and you've already affirmed that it's okay that David's wives were raped for his sin. You tried to get away from it for a while. It didn't work because there's no getting away from it. You just lied on the passage. But good luck in life. I hope you go far. Okay, let's see. What was his name? PhD. Fuck, what was his PhD free? Yeah, he needs to change his name to education free. I don't know if should we clip that video for later, friends? Put a yes in the chat if you think we should clip that and post that later. Sometimes I don't know what is a good clip and what is not a good clip. Everyone says, yeah, okay. Looks like it's getting clipped. All right, it'll be on the list later. Thank you for the input. I appreciate that. Not the Bible, Jason. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Let's get some W's in the chat for Not the Bible, Jason. Formerly, the artist formerly known as JMR says Justin wears Sex Panther by Odin. Illegal in 9 countries and made with bits of real panthers, so you know it's good. It's quite pungent and a formidable scent. Stings the nostrils in a good way and gets kitties purring. 60% of the time it works every time. Amazing quote from the Anchorman. Thank you so much for that. That's one of my favorite quotes from the Anchorman. I'm delighted that somebody else likes that quote. Thank you so much, friend. And Gate of Delirium, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Says PhD free is also education and knowledge free as well. What a POSFF. That seems to be the case. That does seem to be the case. This is not a man of high intelligence. That's the case. And Just Max, thank you for the $100 super chat. Let's get some W's for Just Max in the house. Thank you, my friend. Says, hi, Justin. I appreciate the cooking. Happy holidays, sir. Cheers from Justin M. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I think that makes sense with your name now, your screen name. But anyways, happy holidays to you, my friend. I hope they're great. I'm going to be I'm got to be good the next 3 weeks so that I can eat my body weight in like fudge and brownies and Christmas cookies and things like that. Because let's be honest, it's not Christmas until you've eaten an entire carton of cookies. That's just me personally. That's my thing. You don't have to do that, but that's where I'm at. And Carnage, great to see you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says, if you were a bit more Jesus-y, what would be your body and blood? Mine would be hot Cheeto and crisp hard cider, respectively. I think for me, it would probably be my blood might be Kraken. It's got a little fire to it, but it's also a little bit sweet as well. That would be my blood. The body though is a tough one. If I'm going to pick a body, I'm thinking, what should we have people take as Justin's body for communion? That is a tough one. How about those butter cookies that nobody likes, but everyone saves the tin for? I think that's a good metaphor for my body. Just plain white and pasty, nothing really interesting going on, but you'll at least keep the tin for later to remember the experience. I think that's a pretty good one. So we're doing butter cookies and Kraken. I think you can have them together and they're a pretty good treat. Good question though. I like that question. All right, let's get our next guest in here. We're gonna get Zenobi and then Lupan in that order, friends. Welcome in, Zenobi. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God? Zenobi? Did you request by accident, Zenobi? Do you know you're on a live stream right now? Say nothing if you requested by accident.
Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know why it put me up here.
Okay.
I'm just a fan listening.
Gotcha. No problems. I'll drop you down. Take care. Thanks for
Okay.
watching.
Yeah.
And W for watching. I tell you what, Faraday is not giving up. Not today, at least. Faraday is determined to find a nipple on my neck. Faraday, buddy, you're never going to find one. It's not going to happen. I'm not your mama. I'm just, listen, I wish I could help you, but I can't. Welcome in, Lupin. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God?
Yes and yes.
Okay, and which God do you believe in?
I grew up Baptist, so I guess the Christian God.
Okay, so you're a Christian. You
I'll
didn't
say
sound too
so.
confident in that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a, yeah, yes.
Okay,
We'll go with that.
so you might believe in the Christian God. Do you believe in hell?
Yes.
Okay, who goes to hell in your worldview?
I guess people who God deems worthy for hell.
What about non-believers?
I'm not entirely sure. What does the Bible say about that? I think the Bible says that like the non-believers would go to hell as well, right?
They go to the lake of fire, according to Revelation 21. Yep. Revelation 21:8. The cowardly, the unbelieving, the polluted, the murderers, the sexually immoral. So according to the book, I go to hell just because I don't believe. Is that your belief
Right.
system?
Right, and that's based off of just God saying that I gave you free will, I gave you judgment, I gave you this amazing brain and mind, and you can basically like come to the conclusion that someone created you, or like how
Well,
does
what if I came to the conclusion that that in fact Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are my creators? Coming to the conclusion that there's a God is irrelevant to whether or not you go to hell. You have to believe in a very specific God, and not just a specific God, a specific variant of that God. Like, you don't think Muslims are going to heaven, do you?
if they believe in God, I think they will. Yeah, if they have that pure
No.
soul. And
Jesus says that no one comes to the Father except through him, and that you have to believe in him in order to go to heaven. Like, that's the whole crux of the faith, is if you don't believe in Jesus, like Romans 10:9 and 10 says, if you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus Christ is Lord, and that he was raised from the dead and died for your sins and all that, that's how you get to heaven. You have to believe it.
yeah, well, I think that like people are being judged according to the truth and like moral light they actually had, not in like the religion they believed in. I don't think
Well,
that's essential.
Well, that can't be the case, because Jesus says that you can't go to heaven unless you're born of the water and the Spirit, meaning born again. You got to be a born again Christian. John chapter 4, right? John 4, doesn't he say that? Is it John 4, chat? I'm pretty sure it's John 4.
I'm not exactly sure. I know that I'm definitely not as good as you are with the Bible, and I get it.
Gotta
I
be.
get it. You'd say that that's like my book and whatever, but I know that there's like a verse that says like, let me see if I can remember. Like to whom which is given, much is required.
John 3, guys. Yeah, I agree, but again, because I have a brain, I've decided that this God isn't real because I have a brain, right? So the fact that I have a brain doesn't really do anything for the fact that God's gonna torture me for all eternity in hellfire. Like, I didn't choose to believe this. Like, you can't choose to believe something. You either believe it or you don't. Like, did you choose to not believe in Brahma?
I guess so. I guess I chose not to believe in Brahma. I don't even know who Brahma
No.
is, to be honest, but
You didn't choose to not believe in Brahma. You just don't.
I just don't. Yeah.
Believe
Well,
in Brahma, right?
I guess I said that with the idea behind that, like I was born a Christian, and so when I grew up and I could make the decisions for myself, I guess I chose to keep believing. I guess that's why I answered it
Well,
that way.
you chose to act in accordance with what you believe, right? And that's what most people do, right? Most people already believe that Christianity is true, and then when they get to a particular age, they take a step to live in accordance with that belief. But like, they didn't flip a switch and start believing typically.
Right. But to go
So, like,
back to like going to hell,
well,
don't you think that like people go to hell not for not knowing God, but for like deciding freely and persistently to reject goodness, truth, love?
no.
Like I feel like hell is chosen, and it's not like
Oh, it's certainly not
forced
chosen.
upon anyone.
I didn't choose hell.
How do you?
So to be
Yeah,
clear,
but like,
I did not choose hell. Like, I didn't wake up in the morning one day and said I want to go to hell. The fact that I
but
don't believe in this sky carcass has nothing to do with my choice.
but
It's also it's kind of a horrific setup too, because you don't have free will, by the way. Like, so for example, I don't know if you have a sister, but if I came to your sister and said, listen, I want to take you on the best date of your life. It's going to be amazing. We'll have we'll go to the lake. We'll go to the restaurant on the lake and have, fresh caught fish and lobster and all that nonsense. But if you don't want to go out with me, I will have to lock you in my basement and light it on fire. Am I a good person?
that does not sound like free will. No.
But that's not free will, right? That's like coercion at the nicest, right? So the fact that he commands you to love him with the threat of lighting you on fire forever, means that it's not a free will choice. It's an ultimatum. You will love me or I'll torch you, which isn't love.
I honestly do not know how to
Fair.
argue that point.
No,
I do
that's
not know
fair.
how to argue that point.
Listen, the first time I heard it, I had the same response. I said, fuck, that is a problem. It's okay to admit it. You know? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about a few other things as well. I don't want to get like super into the Bible because it sounds like you might be moldable, like you are amenable to not being an inerrantist, and that's fine. So like,
no, I'm willing. I'm definitely willing to listen. Like I've noticed like there is a thing that you do. You're like, oh, I'm cooking this guy. I'm like cooking that guy, and like I get it. You're like well versed and like you studied,
but
probably 100 times more than me.
But I only cook assholes. And you're being nice. Enough.
But yeah, I'm not looking for a cookout. I'm genuinely like looking for a conversation or a discussion. If you're okay with that.
No, listen, again, I'm with you. Like if I get a nice guest, I treat them nicely. If I get an asshole, I treat them like an asshole. So let's talk about like a couple interesting concepts. I think hell is one problem. I know a lot of people that deconverted because of the issue of hell. I think another problem is the fact that he has like natural disasters in the world, right? So, for example, the Christian response to natural disasters is like, well, he created the world without them. Then when Adam and Eve sinned, the earth got cursed, right? But that being said, like God wasn't obligated to curse the earth after the sin, right?
I guess not. I guess he could have made a different decision, yes. But
right, exactly.
Didn't he set rules in the first place, warning them that that's exactly what's going to happen?
No. The only warning,
free will.
The only warning, well, I don't think they had free will, but that's another story. The only warning they were given was that in the day that you eat of it, you'll die. So they weren't told that, hey, if you eat this fruit, I'm going to create natural disasters that will kill, 100,000 people a year randomly for the rest of eternity,
Okay. The only one thing that I can think of when you're saying that is that like God now created the possibility of death. Like before them eating the apple, there was no possibility of death. There was just heaven, them with God, and eternity, right? And now, because they ate the apple and they broke that rule, now they have this possibility, not possibility, but like outcome of death.
No, I mean,
does that make sense or no?
That's a typical reading of the passage, but that's not what I'm questioning. What I'm questioning is why natural disasters? Because in natural disasters, you don't always die. Like there's a lot of people that get maimed for life. They get vegetableized. There are babies that die in natural disasters. I fail to see how a response to Adam and Eve's sin should entail murdering babies and maiming people and vegetableizing people for life.
I don't know. I feel like he decided to create the balance in a way.
What do you mean by balance? Balance of what? Like balance of good guy versus asshole? Like what are we talking about?
I think like difficulty and pain and suffering does add to our like soul or like consciousness. Because I think, well, I don't know, because like if you had this bliss of a world, then you wouldn't have the full experience and the full range of, and I know you disagree with like free will, but you wouldn't have that complex soul that we have now.
But we don't need it. Remember, babies are dying in natural disasters too. So there's no complexity of the soul. There's no soul building with babies dying.
Yeah, that's a difficult topic. Maybe not in a sense of like the immediate thing, but like I feel like the overall suffering brings people closer to God and love, and it sort of like fuels the positive. Like I feel like the negatives fuel the positives.
Oh, I don't think so. So, for example, I never needed to experience cancer to know that it's a motherfucker, and I'm happy that I don't have it. I never had to be buried in a volcano to know that I don't want to be buried in a volcano, right? So, like, some amount of suffering could, in fact, be good for you. I'm not even sure that it's necessary, though. So, like, for example, the vast majority of human beings that will be in heaven are, in fact, going to be dead babies. There are more dead babies that have ever been on the earth than any other soul ever, which means the vast majority of heaven is literally made up of just dead baby souls who have never done any soul building, right? So, what a weird system to think that soul building is so important that we need to make people suffer, but also the vast majority of people here actually never had to suffer.
Right, you'll just have a bunch of babies running around.
Right.
If you make it there, you'll be tripping all the time on
I
babies, tons of
I think it
babies.
I think it also misses the scale of suffering. So having to overcome adversity can make you stronger. Overcoming a bad cold can make you stronger and make you happy that you don't have a cold, right? But for example, I would be happy if I had a near miss. Like say I had a near miss accident, I'd be really happy. Oh my God, I'm so happy I didn't die today, right? But that's altogether different than like if God struck me with bone cancer and I just spent the next 12 years fighting cancer. That would not add to my experience. I don't need that much suffering for soul building, right? There's a limit, right? Because like when we punish our children, part of why we punish our children is so that they learn a lesson. We're building their character, right? But we agree that there are some punishments that don't build character. It's considered abuse. And that's where I would classify natural disasters. It's not like good soul building punishment, it's abuse.
Mm, I mean, it's sort of the result of like Adam and Eve breaking that rule.
No, it's not. God has control over his own actions, right? So Adam and Eve eating the apple has nothing to do with God's reaction. God's reaction to the eating of the apple is within his control, right?
But
So like
doesn't
if
that
I
prove the idea of free will though?
no, not so much. So if my son goes to school and breaks a rule in school, what I do about it is my thing, right? Like I could choose to lecture him. I could choose to take away his tablet. Or I could choose to punch him in the nose. One of those punishments is an overreaction and would be considered abuse, right? So just because my son did a thing doesn't mean I'm required to react in the most horrific way possible.
Um, I think that God held Adam and Eve to very high standards because they were made in his image. And so now if the rules are set, oh, you're laughing.
But
If the rules,
did they
sorry,
die
sorry,
in a
sorry.
natural disaster though?
Did they die? I have no idea. In a
So
natural
Adam and
disaster.
Eve sinned, therefore all humanity has to put up with natural disasters. They didn't eat the apple.
They did not. That seems unfair.
Right. And nobody was told.
But it's
Nobody was warned this would be the result.
but the God's idea of this world is that it's not this is not it. Like this is
You're right.
not
It's not. This is not it.
no, yeah. That's funny. No, as in like there is a continuation to it, right? If like regardless of your suffering, like this is such a brief period for God. It's just like a momentary, it's a second, it's a millisecond.
Right.
And
So our
it really
suffering is
doesn't matter
meaningless.
because I guess so.
Okay, so
And
human
God,
suffering is meaningless when we compare it with eternity. especially the fact that the
Yes.
vast majority of human beings will spend eternity in hell. Also, by extension, that means Jesus' suffering was meaningless too.
Because he died for our sins.
No, his suffering's meaningless. Like the whole point of the gospel is, oh my God, look at Jesus suffering so badly because he had to take on our punishment. Well, as it turns out, suffering's like nothing when you have eternity. It's meaningless. If it's meaningless for me, it's certainly meaningless for Jesus. He's a fucking God.
You're right. That's a good point.
Like he knew he would come back to life, right? So saying that suffering is meaningless because look at eternity, I don't think is a strong argument, especially since, most people don't end up in heaven, right? So they suffer here, they die, and then they suffer for eternity in hell. Where's the redemption?
They're just getting slapped on all sides. I mean, okay, like, to think about your point, probably if we're thinking that God is all-knowing, based off of your argument, like, he probably even thought that that's how things are gonna have to play out. Like, he would have to send his son and forgive everyone's sins through that sacrifice, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, this is Paul's idea, right? If you read Ephesians chapter 1 and even in Revelation, it talks about Jesus. It says in Ephesians that the elect were chosen from the very beginning, and it says that Jesus was slain before the foundation of the world in Revelation, right? So the New Testament had this idea of no, Jesus's sacrifice wasn't a plan B. It was plan A from the very beginning. But to me, it sounds like a monumental failure that your goal for humanity, like you created them knowing they would sin, knowing every single one of them would sin, and that they couldn't do anything about it. There's not a single, Paul says not one is righteous, right? So there's not one human being that's going to die righteous. So that's the way you were created. And then he says, because of this, because you're not perfect, I have to torture you forever in hellfire. Like, sorry, I kind of lost the plot. I forgot what I was talking about. What the fuck were we talking about?
We were talking about Jesus suffering and that it was
right, the atonement, right, through the suffering is meaningless, right? Because God has all the powers, right? So like if he wanted to forgive sins, he could just forgive them. He doesn't have to send anyone to hell. He doesn't have to punish anyone. Like he could just choose to forgive the sins. Like the fact that we're getting punished for the way we were created in a severe way that we couldn't do anything about is kind of a silly situation, especially when he could, if he's really loving, he would just forgive.
but wouldn't like suffering become the glory eventually and not like this feeble moment in time that you're being punished and you're suffering
No,
because of eternity?
I don't think so. No, like when I look at some of the ways I had to suffer as a human being, I wouldn't look back on them and say I'm glad I went through that. I got a good friend that I grew up with who had 2 fights with cancer. He's not glad that he got cancer and he was able to overcome them. In fact, every time the word cancer comes up, he's like, "Fuck cancer." I beat it twice. So like the reality is like you can think in your head, yeah, when I get to heaven, then I'll look back and be like, oh, I needed that. But we have no evidence that that's how humans actually work. Like there's some things I've overcome that I'm like, I saw that it was just enough to make me grow and not enough to really fuck up my life, right? When you get to the part that fucks up your life, like for example, let's pretend a building falls on you in a tornado and now you're a vegetable from life. Why? What's the sense in that?
But it's so brief. It's like, okay, you're suffering now, but then you accept God,
No,
and you
you're a
believe in God,
vegetable.
and then you spend the rest of
No,
eternity
no, you're a
in glory
vegetable.
with him.
Imagine right now, my house falls, I turn into a vegetable, and I die an atheist. Then what?
Then I think you're fucked.
I know that's the problem. Like, we keep comparing it. Well, it's okay. So there's a popular phrase: "There's no suffering on earth that what was it? There's no pain on earth that heaven can't fix, or some bullshit like that. But listen, that assumes, first of all, that you're only suffering a little bit, and it also assumes that you're going to heaven. The vast majority of people won't be going to heaven, and Jesus himself says that the way is narrow and the path to destruction is wide. And this seems to be true for almost all of history. So the vast majority of human beings won't get this whole heaven makes it all better situation.
But wouldn't you be going to hell because of your choice, though?
No, we
You chose to be an atheist, though.
No, I didn't. We covered this at the beginning of the conversation. I didn't choose to believe this. You are either convinced by something or you're not. You can't choose. For example, if I said, "Can you choose in this moment?" Is your name Lupin or Lupin? How do I say it?
Lupin.
Lupin. Can you choose in this very moment to believe that you're the last person on Earth?
With some help, yes, I think.
I don't think you can. And the reason why is I'm going to ask you to do it, and you're not going to be able to do it. And I know what would happen if somebody became the last person on Earth. They'd lose their fucking mind. So go ahead and pretend that you're the last person on Earth. To pretend that a deadly disease came through yesterday, killed everybody on the Earth, you're the only one alive. Make it real in your head.
And okay, so you're saying that you're assuming that if that happens and I assume that I'm the last person, I will just go mad and crazy. What if that's not the...
You'd be very upset. Nobody upon waking up believes, I don't believe there's a single person here that would wake up, realize that they're the last person on Earth, and then not have a panic.
Right, so you're saying that your disbelief or not believing in this, it's not something that like you decided, it's something that was proven to you based off of like facts and reading and all of that.
Can you believe that atheism is true right now?
If shown enough evidence, yes.
There you go, because it's not a choice. It's whether or not you're convinced. You didn't choose to believe it. You're convinced because of some kind of evidence, right? So if you can't choose in this very moment to be an atheist, that means atheism isn't a choice.
But wouldn't you still choose to take that as the truth or not? You can still choose to reject that, whether it's whether that's the actual truth or not.
No, you're either convinced by it or you're not. You don't choose to be convinced by something. Like if somebody told me that, hey, look, the sun's blue today, and I walked outside and the sun was blue, I'm not choosing to believe the sun is blue. I just put my fucking eyes on it and it's blue. I believe it's blue now, right? You don't choose to believe things. You either believe them or you don't. In case in point, you can't right now choose to be an atheist. I know you can't do it. And if you can't do it, that means I didn't do it either.
I'm trying to think how...
I mean, we can walk through the experiment if you really want to. It's a really good experiment. So what I would say to you then is, Lupin, I'm going to have you do two things. Task number 1 right now, stop believing in all gods. Let me know when you get there.
I'm ready. I'm there.
All right. Task number 2, out of your mouth, say, I denounce Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. He's a dead sky carcass that I don't believe in.
That's a lot to say, but I deny Jesus Christ, and he is a dead carcass in the sky that I don't believe in.
It was a lot to say because you didn't want to say it.
No, that's not true. I don't believe in any gods. I don't believe in any gods.
How did it make you feel when you said it, liar?
You're accusing me now. That's not nice.
We all know it.
We
all know that belief is not a choice, Lupin.
You asked me to believe that there was no God, so that's easy.
And then you acted as though you did for 30 seconds.
I truly believe it.
You don't.
What makes you so sure about it?
Then say fuck Jesus, fuck Yahweh. I'm never believing in those two ever again. Commit blasphemy.
Because that's an unforgettable sin.
Yeah,
Unforgivable
commit
sin.
blasphemy of the Holy Spirit right now.
That is tough.
I know it's tough because you can't choose what you believe. You either believe it or you don't.
Right. So you are being punished for something that you haven't chose. So you're going to be based off of Christianity, you're going to be in hell for eternity. And it wasn't your choice.
Right. Nobody should ever be punished for what they do or don't believe. It's not something you have control over.
What's your background? Have you always been? I'm assuming you were religious at one point.
Yeah, I was a Christian for 20 years, and I went to Bible college and seminary, and it was reading the Bible that caused me to lose my faith.
Is that a common thing that happens?
Yep,
With
it's a very
people
common joke. Yeah, they call seminary the cemetery. It's where Christians go to die.
Wow, that's so funny.
It's very common. In fact, we've got at least one or two other seminarians in the chat that deconstructed in seminary too. Put a capital seminary in the chat if you lost your faith in seminary.
Oh, unfortunately, I can't see chat.
That's
So
okay,
what was the main thing that convinced you, or was it like a multitude of things? You're like, oh, like fuck this, I don't. This is not true. It's not true to me anymore.
I think it was a multitude of things. I usually describe it as like death by 1,000 cuts, but I do believe that the straw that broke the camel's back for me was the fact that Jesus just didn't know what the Hebrew Bible says. He gets it wrong at every turn, and then he misapplies scripture over and over again. Like in Luke chapter 4, he applies Isaiah 61 to him, which is clearly not about him. It's clearly about the restoration of the Israelites after the Babylonian captivity. And he takes the most vague part of Isaiah 61, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, and says, today this has been fulfilled. Well, bullshit. The me is obviously the prophet. And if you read all the way to verse 4, it's clear that the Spirit of the Lord is upon the prophet to bring good news to those who got their asses kicked by the Babylonians, that now they're going to get restored. And Jesus didn't restore his people. In fact, when he came, it got worse for his people. So like he's just kind of a goof. He didn't fulfill a single messianic prophecy. All you got to do is read the Hebrew Bible. There's tons of prophecies that I would consider and Jews would consider messianic. He doesn't come close to fulfilling any of them.
You think that he was a crook?
Yeah, I think he was a charlatan.
So, do you believe in any sort of like higher power, or
not anymore? I did for a while. I believed in a generic God for a while after I left Christianity.
After you left Christianity because you couldn't just give it up completely?
Yeah, because it's a process, it's a journey. Some people do. My buddy Chet might actually be here. Chet did that. When he went to undergrad to study the Hebrew Bible, he went straight from Christian to atheist. Most people don't. Most people have a progression of like, okay, well, Christianity is not true, but maybe this other stuff is true. Or, well, maybe this other stuff isn't true, but maybe there's still a God. It takes a while to because you don't like tear down a wall just by like running your car into it. You kind of take it down brick by brick because it's sacred to you. So when you're dealing with something sacred, you disassemble it very slowly and carefully because you don't want to throw the baby out with bathwater. But if you continue in the thinking process, eventually, the baby typically does get thrown out.
I feel like if one is to do that, then it leaves a huge gap of like understanding the world around you and like meaning maybe? Like, what did you find to fill that gap?
Well,
Was there a gap? Was there a hole? Was there like
there was for me
did you feel
initially
empty?
because I lost a bunch of community, right? So my life was wrapped up in church. I was a pastor for over a decade. My life was wrapped up in the Christian community, and so you lose. Well, to be fair, I mean, all of my old Christian friends are still friends with me, but you lose like that sense of community, going to church, participating in mission trips, and doing all the group activities. And so you kind of have to rebuild that a little bit. That's a part of your life that gets rebuilt. Now, we try to do that here at Deconstruction Zone. We've got an amazing crew that runs a Discord. We've got a lot of people that come into these live streams and dialogue with each other. There's a lot of people in the chat right now that are just here to talk to each other. They don't give a fuck what I'm saying right now. So like we do it the best we can. Yeah, we do the best we can to have a little bit of community, and that's important. A lot of people miss that when they leave.
I have a silly question. Do you think you've converted more people or deconstructed more people? Because you're a pastor for 10 years. You preached to, I'm assuming, a church that was like, usually, you have a couple of hundred people or maybe 100 people. Do you think you brought people to God more than you helped deconstruct?
I'm not entirely sure because, in America, most of the people that you quote unquote save, most of them kind of already believed it anyways. They might have not been completely sure how much they believed it, or they might not have taken the steps to align their life with what they believe. So, like, while I did drag people to church for a long time, the better part of 20 years dragging people to church, and a lot of them are still in church, most of them probably.
Right.
I don't know the numbers because that was one person at a time, for the course of a decade or two, right? But what I'm doing now, I'm talking to thousands of people at a time right now. I've got 600 people watching on TikTok, and I've got 1,800 on the horizontal YouTube stream, probably 600 on the vertical. So like thousands of people at a time are listening to me right now, whereas I had to talk to a couple people at a time to get them in the church.
You're right. That's so funny. You separate them, the horizontal and the vertical.
Well, that's a long story, but yeah, I've got two different YouTube streams, but anyways, the long and short of it, Lupin, is like you don't have to leave Christianity and then not believe in any God. Certainly, there are a lot of people who leave Christianity and still believe in a God, and there are some people who don't, like me. But I think the reality is when you examine the underpinnings of the religion, it's rife with problematic concepts. There's so many, like even the main doctrines, like Jesus had to die to save you from hell. That doctrine alone is problematic. That anybody would be tortured by fire for eternity for any sin is crazy. I don't even think Hitler should be tortured by fire for all of eternity. Maybe a lifetime for every human life he took. Maybe, but not for eternity. That's crazy.
That is crazy. That feels like it's an unfair punishment.
Right.
And it's not being enforced. Like, although that kind of goes against what I'm about to say, kind of goes against free will, like that because God is not showing itself, it's not participating in our lives, it's like very distant. But I feel like because there's the idea of free will, you can't have presence and offer free will in the same time.
What do you mean by presence?
Like if God was here and commanding and like present in our lives, like with like showing itself and like all of that stuff, you wouldn't have the idea of free will anymore.
The people in heaven had free will. They just remember the angels disobeyed God by in Genesis 6 coming down and sleeping with the women. They were in his presence. Right? So being in his presence, I don't think affects your free will.
That's a good point. I think you can toss me in the category of cooked.
Well, listen, Lippin, it was fun to talk to you at least. When I first got online, I thought I'd have more conversations like this where we can have like just some back and forth dialogue. I didn't think I would end up arguing with people and cooking people. But there's a lot of Christians that when you start tweaking their religion, they get really bent out of shape over it, and you have no other choice other than to end up debating. You know what I mean?
Very unholy. Like I've noticed that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the
If
case.
you're practicing a religion of love and all of that, and forgiving your neighbor, whatever, loving your neighbor, and then you're doing that.
Right. Yeah. If you're truly doing what Jesus told you to do, you wouldn't be acting like a fool on the internet just because somebody's talking about your religion. That's the case.
It-
But
yeah, I guess anonymity helps.
right. Yeah, it does.
Like
It
you
does.
just come up here and just say whatever, hang up, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess feel better about yourself.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Well, listen, Lupin, I enjoyed talking to you. Thanks for stopping by and being cordial. We love a guest that actually is nice, even though we don't get them very often. So thanks for coming by and having a good chat.
No, I appreciate you talking to me. Thank
Sure
you.
thing. Cheers, buddy.
Good night.
Well, this is a good palate cleanser from some of the other guests, from back-to-back baby pastes and grape apologists and things like that. Simon, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Says the Bible, on the third day, God made himself some mussels and French fries for dinner. Christians be like, I see. It means that God went to McDonald's and ordered a Big Mac. Gotta be a metaphor. I know. Listen, Simon, around here, if you like what it says, it's literal. If you don't like what it says, it's always a metaphor. That's the key to true Christian hermeneutics. And HP Lovecat, thank you for the 666, my friend. Says, when I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, a Greek Orthodox priest told me God sent it to me so that I'd be closer to him. Doug would never do that. Fuck no, he wouldn't, Lovecats. He would never. The fact that God has to harm you to bring you closer to him demonstrates that he's impotent. He's a weak-ass God. You never have to harm somebody to bring them closer to you. For example, if you're married or if you have a significant other, how often do you have to harm your significant other to bring them closer to you? If you do that, people will come and arrest you. Like, you might end up in like the white self-snuggie. Like, it's not going to turn out well for you. Carissa, thank you so much for the 10, count them, 10 Deconstruction Zone gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate that. And IO1497, also Astronova, thank you for the $20 super chat, my friend. Says there's no point to test our soul building when the God is going to wipe your memory away. Isaiah 65:17, God will create new earth and wipe your memory. So this is actually a really interesting point, because in Isaiah 65:17, this is the new heaven, new earth imagery that is robbed for the book of Revelation. Although in Revelation, they don't die. In Isaiah, they still die in Isaiah. But in Isaiah 17, it talks about the former things. The former things shall not be remembered or come to mind, meaning the trials of former things. This is actually a really interesting point that I never put together. We bring out Isaiah 65 quite a bit when we talk about Bible contradictions. This is the first time someone's ever mentioned it in reference to heaven and not remembering what happened on earth, which means soul building is irrelevant. That's such a good point. That's such a good point, Io. I really appreciate that. Astronova gets some W's for Astronova on that point. And Design with the $10 super chat says, the way they defend God, Adam and Eve, I'm dying to know if they think Adam and Eve went to hellfire after they died. If they ended up back in heaven, they were pawns. Agreed. If Adam and Eve ended up in heaven, that means God forgave them. And if God just forgave them, that means he could have forgiven them without cursing the earth, without making childbirth painful. Like he didn't have to go through any of that nonsense. And Dr. Joe, another fellow seminarian, thank you for the $10 super chat, says the Twilight Zone did an episode depicting the last person on Earth. It was brilliant and haunting. Also, it's spiritual literacy month. I bet we can do something with that. Spiritual Literacy Month is something I never thought was going to be like a word, a phrase. Let me look that up. Spiritual. To be fair, there's a lot of like religious celebrations happening in December, so I can see why it would be December. As a Spiritual Literacy Month is a time to learn about spirituality and faith traditionally celebrated in December, with the goal of encouraging people to read at least one book on the topic. Well, fuck, we do that every day. And thank you for letting me know, Dr. Joe. I had no idea. We're going to read even more of this book this month. And Corpse Man, thank you for the super chat, says Ephesians 2:8-9 and Philippians 1:29 state that God grants both faith and belief. It's true. It is true, actually. In fact, in Romans 9, he explicitly says that it's not based on human will or exertion, but on God who shows mercy. That's why I'm just a vessel of wrath. That's all it is. But that's a really good point, though, on Ephesians 2:8-9. In fact, we'll throw it up for everyone who hasn't read it. Ephesians 1 is another good one. Ephesians 1 really does away with the whole free will nonsense when it says that the elect were chosen before the foundation of the world. It says, oh shoot, the super chat's up. Let's see. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing, it is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that one man may boast. So God saves whom he wills. That's it. And you can't say, well, he chooses those that are worthy, because then it would be based on works. So he doesn't choose those who are worthy. He chooses those who he wills. God's ways are higher. Peapot Fairy, thank you for the $10 super chat, says, before I was born, my sister died of a severe and rare condition after 2 days of extreme pain. My mom was not able to hold her even once. No soul building came of it, only sadness. Peapot, this is the case. And I'm sorry that happened, but like, this is reality. I have a friend that had a stillbirth and no soul building. Oh, fuck me. I'm not even tired. Why am I yawning? No soul building comes from that. Nobody feels like they're a better person because they had a stillborn baby. Not a thing. It's a tragic event. And I am the big cheese. Good to see you again, my friend. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Says John baptizing Jesus was wholly unnecessary and stupid unless adoptionism is true. Couldn't agree more. Otherwise, no precedent or reason. It is impossible for someone to bless and cleanse my sins in my own name. And remember, he was baptizing for the remission of sins. Like he was baptizing people to cleanse them from their sins. That was the point of the whole thing. It wasn't just a meaningless ritual. This was already adopted in Judaism for that intent. So when Jesus comes to him, you can imagine, that this would be a tremendous event, and it makes Christian theology completely senseless. Adoptionism was the earliest view among the Christians because it's the only view that makes sense. It's it. There's no view of Jesus outside of adoptionism that makes sense. Imposter Joe, last super chat for now. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Says, loving the Exvangelical podcast with Sarah from Leaving Faith. You both meld so well there. Rock hard for Doug and Simple Wet for Sharon. Well, we've been working together for a long time. She was the first person I ever met when I got online doing the social media. She was number one. And we still do a ton of work together because she's brilliant. I'll say it again. Leaving Faith, Sarah, is brilliant. She's the big brain. I'm not nearly as smart as Sarah is. Make sure you're following her content because she's really sharp. And we're going to be debating again real soon. All right, let's get the next guest in here. It's going to be Mike from the TikTok queue. Welcome in, Mike. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yes, and it's complicated, but let's say yes.
Okay. Is it a particular God?
Christianity.
Okay. Do you believe that the God is all good, partially good, or maybe mix?
I don't really concern myself with these kinds of questions.
Well, that's
know,
what you're
but I
here
do.
for. That the prompt is God is not good. We're examining whether or not God is good.
Well, I look at the effects that Christianity, puts on society, and I think it's way better than what the new
Well,
atheist liberal
you
freaks
you can you can claim that
guys
all
are
you
promoting.
want, but that's irrelevant to the topic. Do you want to address the topic?
Yeah, the topic is that you think that Christianity is a bad influence on
No, I
society.
didn't.
You've said that
That's
many
not the
times,
topic.
and
I didn't
and
say
I
that.
disagree
I
with
didn't.
that.
I didn't say that tonight. So again, I know you're terrified of talking about the actual topic because you don't want to read the Bible. But the question is whether or not God is good, not whether or not Christianity has good effects. So you want to talk about the topic or no?
Are you good? Are you good, Justin? Because I know that you like to lie about being a pastor.
Okay, so no, you don't. All right, we'll move on to the next guest because he was apparently too cowardly to have dialogue. Oh, well, you'll know them by their fruits, y'all. Ultra Ego, welcome in. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God?
Yes, I am, and yes, I do.
Awesome. And which God do you believe in?
The God of the Bible.
Christian, great. So do you think that the God of the Bible is good all the time, or maybe sometimes, or maybe a mixture of good and bad?
It's complicated because I believe that even though the Bible that exists has a lot of the actual texts and scripture in it, it may not be the actual full truth. There might be more to it, or there might have been some stuff added to it, or twisted around, rearranged, all sorts of things. And so
Yeah.
if you ask me,
Hey,
if God is good? Absolutely, he's good.
is there
Is
any
he
way you
represented
can not be driving
in
right
that
now?
book? It
Hey,
might not be
hey,
possible.
we can't hear what you're saying, and it's against TikTok terms of service to be driving. Can you pull over?
Yeah, give me two,
Because right
one.
now, all we can hear is everyone driving by him.
Oh, geez, I apologize. Yeah, there's like a gas station over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I was saying though, based off of the Bible, the actual ideas of God might be a little bit um, skewed, but
Well,
in reality,
which parts
God
of the
is
Bible are
good.
true?
Which parts? I want to say one of the things that I have the biggest issues with is all the stuff associated with Paul from the
Great.
New
Yeah,
Testament.
we agree. Fuck Paul. Get him out of there. What about the law of Moses? Did God actually give that?
The law of Moses, I think. So I would say that there is some truth to. Okay, so if you're talking about the Ten Commandments, I can absolutely see that that is a truth. But as far
I
as
said the law of Moses, not the Ten Commandments.
okay, so you're meaning like Levitical law, that
All
sort
of
of
the
thing.
laws, all
All the
the laws
laws.
that Moses gave. When Jesus refers to the laws of Moses, we know what they are. It's the all the laws between Genesis and Deuteronomy. Although there's really no laws in Genesis.
Yeah. Yeah. So would I say that God gave those to Moses? I would say that it's almost like a case where if let's say you were to have a spiritual encounter and um start like having something that expressed in your very core of your being that was God communicating to you, and you start to listen and things go perfectly. At some point our human nature takes over and we hear what we want to listen
Right.
to,
So,
like what
but
we
my
want to
question
hear.
was, do you think that the laws of Moses were actually given by God?
There's some of it that's outrageous, but I would say yes,
Okay,
to
so
an extent.
it was given by God. So then by extension, all of the laws of Moses must be good.
I get where you're going with this argument. there's probably some of the stuff, and that's what I was trying to explain, that at some point human nature would have taken over and his own judgment
Human
clouded
nature
his
took
own
over God's laws?
No, it took over whoever was writing those books.
Okay, so when it says that God gave the laws of Moses in the book, it's not actually true.
Partially true. I don't know. Like I don't know if that's a fair argument, but I would say that for sure it's almost like we can, as logical human beings, see what sorts of things might be divinely inspired and what sorts of things might be, hey, I'm in this era of where women are this property and we can do whatever we want, and so let's
Okay,
just make the
so then
law to make it easier for
it's
us.
just based on your
So it's
feels then.
by
Like the laws that I
necessity
feel that
they
I
made
like,
their
I
own
say they're
laws and
from
put
God, and the
God's
laws that
stamp
I
on them.
don't like, the laws that give me the bad feels, I say those didn't come from God.
Yeah, I can see that argument too, but
But
like I said,
that was your
I don't
argument, wasn't
necessarily.
it? So what metric are you using when you're reading the Bible to determine which law came from God?
What is good and what is not good?
How do you know what good is? Isn't good whatever God does?
Good is, yeah, I see, we're kind of going around and around in this stuff, but I would say, I don't know. I would say good, to me, good always creates and bad destroys.
So
And so,
every time God said
by
to kill
using
somebody,
that
he didn't
metric,
actually do it.
he didn't actually kill people. And the
So
reason
in 1
behind
Samuel
this, though, the reason
15:3,
behind this,
when he
though,
sends
is
the
there's such a
prophet to
thing
give the
as
command to kill a baby, did this happen? When it says,
a
"Now go and
second.
attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. Do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey." Did that happen?
And according to scripture, yes, it did.
Well,
And
I'm
is
saying
that
in
a good?
reality. In reality, do you think it happened?
Yes.
Okay, and so this is God clearly destroying somebody. You said that if it brings destruction, then it probably isn't from God, but this is definitely from God.
Okay, and I see how you're kind of like I'm not saying you're trying to trap me. I mean, maybe you are, but it's like
No,
I'm
I'm not
trapped in my
trapping
own
you. I'm just
argument
proving you're
here.
wrong.
And what I would say here is that so what were we talking about again?
Well, right now we are kind of doing two things now. We're talking about how you determine which parts are from God and which parts are made up by men. But now our second talking point, which seems obligatory, which is
okay,
whether or
yeah,
not you think
and
it's good that God kills
the
babies.
morality of killing even babies. And so what I picture sometimes when I think of these things is there are different types of people that we live in a society where we just accept one another, and we're like, no matter what, we have to get along, we have to, but at the same time it's like the values that are expressed by some of the extremes versus the other extremes, they shouldn't be next to each other, because what they're going to do is corrupt one another. And so looking at it from that perspective, is it possible? So this is a scenario that I imagine. Some actual
I
demon
have
babies.
I have no
Some
idea what you're
actual
talking about
demon.
right now, alter ego. So the
Okay,
question
well, okay.
was, is it ever good to
So
kill a baby?
if this is a race of demons, and there's a little demon baby, oh, it's a cute little demon baby, oh, look at how cute it is, and then it grows up and becomes a big giant
Wait, can
monster.
you
And
tell me
so
what
what I'm
you mean
saying
by
is,
race of demons?
that's what he's trying to say, that these people who are just captivated, mind controlled by this deity, Abimelech, is that what you called him?
No,
These
Abimelech
people,
is the king of Gerar in Genesis. That's a different. I think you want
right?
to
And
mean,
they
you
did all
probably mean
sorts of
Molech.
abominations, and they've done all sorts of abominations, correct?
Well,
They've done all
no,
sorts of
no.
like
Children don't do abominations.
but they're going to be raised in that to be that, and no matter what you
Okay, so
do,
just to be
as
clear,
far as if
then,
you want to
if a
take them and
child is
try to raise
raised
them,
pagan, they can never convert.
they can. Okay, I see that argument.
Because isn't the whole point of the gospel is to go out and convert even the children? So you're saying to me that children that are raised in pagan cultures can never convert? That makes Jesus's command.
That's not what I'm saying. No, no, no.
Okay, so some of them certainly could have converted to Judaism theoretically. Then
at that time, yeah, and so these people of Abimelech or whatever, but there's also just this knowledge that, hey, this has been going on for some time. Like,
okay, so
this has been going
sometimes it
on
is
for
okay to
hundreds of
murder
years,
babies.
maybe
Then
thousands of years, and so there's not going to be very much more conversion. This is what it is. These
to
people
be clear,
want to
you're
be
saying that
what they
sometimes
are.
it is okay to murder babies. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just, and I'm not saying it's like. And okay, let's just imagine a different scenario.
You're not
Let's
saying much. You're using a lot of words to not say much. My question was, are there in fact times in where you're gonna get nailed? Just stop fighting. Don't clinch. It's gonna hurt no matter what you do. So
you're a very confident individual.
I've been doing this for a long time. This is what I do full time now.
I've actually debated you a couple times, and yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. What I'm trying to say though is that
to be clear, I'm just waiting for you to admit that sometimes it's okay to in fact murder babies.
That is a solution, and
okay, so
some of it.
So then I'm still waiting for an answer to the question. Do you remember the question?
To murder babies.
I said
I remember.
Are there occasions in which it's okay to murder babies?
Yeah, I know you're trying to get in.
Awesome.
And I don't know, are you gonna...
and that occasion is if God tells you to, right?
In the occasion that, I mean, I would
so
say,
like, if you're an ancient Israelite and God tells you to kill the Amalekite babies, would you do it?
What's that?
If you're an ancient Israelite and God tells you to kill the Amalekite babies, are you going to do it?
Like today? And I think the reality that you have to think about.
No, that wasn't my question. Follow along. I said, if you're an ancient Israelite, the word ancient entails that it's not today. If you're an ancient Israelite and God tells you to kill the Amalekite babies, are you going to do it?
Am I, as an ancient Israelite who believes what I believe, and God commands me to do it, I would say yes, I would.
Awesome. And if he told you today, this moment, to kill a baby, would it be wrong to disobey?
Am I still an ancient Israelite?
I said today. If it's today, it's entailed that you're not ancient anymore. You didn't live for 2,000 years.
That's the. I think
you, as a human being, right now, as a follower of the same God, if that same God came to you and said, "I need you to kill a baby," would it be wrong to disobey him?
The entire scripture is meant to explain, to show a story of how.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks. You know that quote? That's a good one. All right, so the question was, if God told you today to kill a baby, would it be wrong to disobey?
God wouldn't tell me today to kill a baby.
All right, dodge number 2. If God did tell you to kill a baby, would it be wrong to disobey?
And again, I'm just letting you know that the times are different today than they
dodge
were.
Number 3. I didn't ask you about times. It's a hypothetical. If God did, would it be wrong to disobey him?
I would say that yes, it would be wrong.
There you go.
I would do it. And the reasoning behind it is he would know more than I would know.
You got it.
Let's say this is another race of whatever, some what do we call them?
Nephilim. They're a new strain of Nephilim.
the lizard people. What are they called? The ones like Hillary Clinton that changed their face and whatnot.
I think they just call them
The
lizard people.
reptilian shapeshifters. If God commanded us to wipe them all out, I would have to say yes if he commanded me. But he probably wouldn't command me. He would command the trained fighters to do it.
Well, it doesn't matter if he would. So if God commanded trained fighters to kill a group of babies, that would
The
be
angels. Angels are like
sure.
bad mofos.
What if God said, imagine alter ego that you are one of those trained fighters, and God says, I need you to go to your orphanage, take all the babies out of the orphanage and kill the babies. Would it be wrong to disobey?
And they're all reptilian shapeshifters.
I didn't say that.
Because they look human.
No,
they look like regular babies,
no, they're not reptilian shapeshifters.
actually...
They are, in fact, just ancestors of an ancient pagan group. All of their ancestors are pagan. They were raised pagan, and they'll probably continue to be pagan and worship pagan gods. And God says, "Listen, I'm done. I'm done with these. I'm done with these people. I want you to wipe them out." Alter ego, would it be wrong to disobey?
The argument that I would put here is that there must.
I actually don't want an argument. I want an answer to the question. Would it be wrong to disobey that command? Would it be wrong to disobey the command is the question.
Yes, it would be wrong. You would need to obey the
there
command.
You go.
If you are truly a...
That's right.
Yeah.
You got it. And then and this is the last question, and I know you don't want to answer it, but I'll make you do it anyways. If God told you before you burn down the orphanage, actually take the babies out of it, put them into the meat grinder.
I don't think you make them suffer, though.
No. You can kill them painlessly, and then throw them in the meat grinder. And then what I need you to do is to make some of that make some patty. Oh no, not pat. No, that's too easy. What I want you to do is make little popcorn ceiling out of them, jet puff them, and turn them into popcorn ceiling, and then splatter it on your ceiling for texture. Would that be the right thing to do?
As a constant reminder for anyone who enters that room. I honestly don't think that would be something that would be commanded.
Again, I didn't ask you if he would command it.
I don't know how, that's how chain of command works. You know what I mean?
I know. That's why I asked the question, because I know the answer to the question. The chain of command works in that you can't disobey God, but I would let you, I do have to let you down now and tell you that there is a path forward for saying no, because God could be testing you to know if in fact you're a detestable human being, and it could just be a test to see if you're going to do something horrible. And so you don't actually have to say yes to God. You can stand on your own ground and say, you know what, God, I'm not down with killing babies. That makes me very uncomfortable. I'm not going to do it.
I disagree with you.
And if God was, I know. Well, he did Abraham.
By wanting to kill his own son. Yeah, I get you with that. But okay.
Well, it's already over. You're already committed to baby paste, my friend. Come back and play again some other time, okay? At least he was honest with it. I do appreciate when they're honest with the baby paste, to be fair. You know, I appreciate someone who's going to be honest. Oh, well. Let me grab a couple of super chats. We'll get our next guest in here. Friend, thank you so much for being here. Is it Wednesday night already? No, it's Monday night. No, fuck, it's Monday night. I'm so not used to going live on Sunday nights. I'm losing my mind. I'm used to going on AXP or on the line on Sunday nights and then doing my own thing on Monday. But I went live yesterday because I wasn't live on AXP or on the line. So I was like, fuck, I'll do my own live. And then now I'm all messed up. I'm just all messed up. Convict Killer says perfectly undefeated Christian defense. Dodge, duck, dip, dive. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. But remember, kids, if you can dodge a question, you can dodge a god. That is the case. That's a good modified quote from the Dodgeball movie. I do love the Dodgeball movie, by the way. And Foul, thank you for the $20 super chat, my friend. Says something rarely said about divine command theory and atrocities is believers don't get a personal visit from God. They must unalive children, trusting God claims from priests, generals, kings, etc. This is such a good point. Oh my God. I can't believe that this has never come up in conversation, but you're 1,000,000% right. God isn't telling these people to do it. God is sending a person. And then that person is saying, here's what God said, and you just have to believe me. And in fact, if you don't obey me, he punishes you for it. In the book of Kings, there are two separate individuals that get punished for not obeying the words of a prophet, even though one thought he was being tricked, and number two was just trying to be a decent human being. God had both of them eaten by lions because they disobeyed the prophet or disobeyed the prophetic command. Crazy. Insane. In fact, maybe we'll talk about that tonight. Design says, I'm certain that actual free will looks like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, a god, not the god. That seems to be the case. Which, by the way, do young folks still watch that movie around Groundhog Day? I remember when I was younger, we would watch that every year for Groundhog Day. I think that tradition's done. I don't think Bill Murray's in vogue anymore, but it was fun while it lasted. Singer, thank you for the $10 super chat, says, a little late, but personal request. Can you give one of the Christians Malachi 2:3 and see if they're willing to concede that punishment via poo smear is good? Okay. So for those who don't know, in Malachi 2:3, God talks about punishing the people by smearing poop on their faces. It's a wild verse. It's similar to like Jeremiah and elsewhere where he talks about lifting up the skirts of the people and exposing them. Or like in the Leviticus 26 talks about how he's going to cannibalize their children. The punishments that Yahweh meters out are pretty wild. This is one of them, the smearing the poo. We should talk about that. And Humberley, thank you for the $10 super chat, says, thanks for the work you do. I appreciate your patience for debate and your knowledge of the book. Also, the kitty cuddles put a much needed smile on my face. Yay for godless heathen cats. I know, and all cats are without a god. Oh, look, my live is restricted now on TikTok. Your live is not eligible for recommendation and restricted in search results because your live does not comply with the For You feed eligibility standards. Under our community guidelines, reason, misinformation that may cause moderate harm. What the fuck is the misinformation that's going to cause moderate harm? I'm literally doing the opposite of that, you jackasses at TikTok. This is why AI should never take over society. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. It's too dumb. It's too stupid. They can't get shit right. They can't even understand language. Lockfree, thank you for the $10 super chat, says, that's how chain of command works. Ultra soldiers at Nuremberg. Yes. Yes. Listen, the Nazi soldiers were just following the chain of command. What could we do? What could we do? You know, that you have to follow orders. If we learned anything from A Few Good Men, that you got to follow orders. Okay. Well, we'll get another guest up here from YouTube. We're not going to have any more TikTok guests left because TikTok is now prevented my live stream from being seen. TikTok's a fucking waste. It's a waste. All right. John, welcome in. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God?
Yes, and yes.
All right. John, have we talked before?
No, sir, we haven't.
Oh, interesting. Your voice sounds familiar. Okay. John, do you believe that God is all good, partially good, or maybe, I don't know, a combination of a good and also dickhead?
He is all good. He is the best God. He's the only God, and he is King.
He is
Jesus
the best, I'm
King.
sure. Sure, yeah. Do you think that, like, it should ever, like, the punishment for any crime should ever be cannibalize your children?
Well, no, you don't want to ever cannibalize your children, no. But God, here's the thing. In the Old Testament, when God was telling that to Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, that was
No, I didn't say sacrifice, it's a cannibalize. Cannibalizing
no,
your
you
children means you eat them.
Yeah, no, I know, cannibalize, yes, but no, God would never tell anyone to cannibalize, because in the Bible, God was the ultimate sacrifice too, and it's not even just a sacrifice. God wouldn't tell anyone to do cannibalism.
No, he certainly does. If you're Catholic, he commands you to do cannibalism because
I'm
you're
not
eating
Catholic.
the literal body and blood. But he does actually cause cannibalism. You want to see it?
Show me where it says that.
Yeah, it's in actually quite a few verses, but my favorite is from Jeremiah. You go to Jeremiah, he talks about the punishment he's going to bring on the Israelites and says, I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and all shall eat the flesh of their neighbors in the siege and in the distress which their enemies and those who seek their life afflict them. So God's going to punish them so severely that he causes them to eat the flesh of their children.
Okay, but listen, this is in Jeremiah. It's not saying, because nowadays, and when God says he's the best God of all time, he's not gonna say eat your children. He's not gonna say cannibalize.
He just said he is. I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters. How else can you take that? Words have meanings, man.
I know, but like in nowadays, God isn't like that. Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice, and
I don't care about that. I'm asking.
Jeremiah was in the Old Testament.
Is there ever in a case? It doesn't matter if it's the Old Testament. God did it.
Yes, it does. Because Jesus died for our sins.
Here comes the crash out. Does God's character change?
What do you mean?
Does God's character change?
Well, Jesus is God. So when he sacrificed,
his character
changed a lot of things.
Character, not his plan. His character. Does his character change?
No, his character does not change because he is
okay.
God.
So is it within his character to cause cannibalism?
No, it's not. It's not in his character.
Okay, so
unless
then
it was
Jeremiah
in the Old
19's a lie. Then I'm sorry. Did God not have a character in the Old Testament?
He did have a character. I'm not saying he didn't have a character, but Jesus died on the cross.
So in Jeremiah 19:9, was it within God's character to do the things he said he's doing?
Once again, it was in the Old Testament.
Yeah, I know. Is it still God? Is it still God?
It's still God. It's the
okay,
same God,
so
but Jesus
Jeremiah 19:9 is talking about God, is it not?
No, Jesus died on.
Well, try this again. Try this again. In Jeremiah, the verse on the board. Listen, talking about Jesus is meaningless here. We all know the story. All you're doing is wasting your breath. We want to talk about the actual text. Jeremiah 19:9, God says, I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters. So what that means is that it is within God's character to cause cannibalism. And if God's character is unchanging, that just means it's always within his character to have people cannibalized.
Text, obviously.
No, I don't misunderstand the text.
It's those who will like not follow him in any way.
John, you didn't even know that this text existed.
In Jeremiah, I have said that.
You didn't even know that this text existed, which is why you don't know the context and I do. Who's being punished in this verse?
You were going to be punished if you don't accept God.
No, who's being punished in Jeremiah 19:9? John, we all know the gospel. No one gives a fuck about the gospel. We've all heard it 5,000 times. Quoting John 3:16 is not going to save a single person here. If you want to save a soul right now, you focus on the actual conversation. Jeremiah 19:9 is a punishment for who?
Well, obviously it was in the Old Testament they did that, but they said it in Jeremiah.
John, who? Name the people that are being punished, John.
You're not letting me talk. You're obviously just gonna say the truth.
Well, now you're muted. So the reason why you're getting muted, child, is because you want to preach, and we're not here for preaching. I can go to a Sunday sermon if I want to hear preaching. I want to dialogue with somebody about what the book says. If you're not capable of dialoguing about the current passage on the screen, you've stumbled into the wrong place. This is not youth group. So we'll try this again.
I'm not saying this is youth group. I'm trying to tell you the truth.
No, you're not, John. You're preaching. We all fucking know it. We were a Christian longer than you've been alive. So we'll try this for the last time. You only get 3 chances, okay? Do you want to talk about the passage on the board, or do you want to preach?
I want to do both. Listen.
Okay, well, tell you what. I'm going to give you 2 solid minutes to preach, and then after that, we're talking about the passage. Deal?
Okay, yeah, deal. Okay.
All right, go for it.
I'm honestly down to talk.
Okay, get the fuck out of here. You know I'm not going to let you preach, you idiot. All right. He was maybe 12 at best. Maybe 12. All right. In fact, I guess we'll write John down too. John, we got a lot of clips tonight. Holy shit. John, and we'll just write, gets 2 minutes to preach. Fair enough. All right. And we'll move on, hopefully, to a full-grown adult that has already cut the umbilical cord and testes have descended. Piranha, good to see you. It says Rant by Bo Burnham, by the way, is one of my favorite atheist jams. Rant by Bo Burnham is unbelievable. Best lyric, the father reads a little bit further, assuring the assured that they need not bother. Doug saw my sun tiger tarantula through meeting a female. Well, hell fucking yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Hope there's some, some baby bliss going on there. And Carlos, my friend, great to see you. Hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for sending out 20 DZ Debate memberships. That is huge, my friend. 20 of them. Thank you so much. And Lockfurry back in the chat says, caller just tacitly admitted to multiple gods. Best god of all time. Thanks, John. You're a genius. That was not somebody who was prepared for the conversation. He stumbled in thinking he was going to frantically shout the gospel at everybody and save the entire room. That is a young man that is completely confused about what's happening. Another one from Lockfurry says, I know you're trying to get me to answer, but I won't. Ultra. Not ultra probably, ultra literally. That is the case. And Design says, what makes the God doesn't want robots crowd so eager to follow orders to baby paste? I know. The same people that says God doesn't want robots will also say, if I don't fucking kill babies for my God, I'm doing the wrong thing. It's preposterous, Design. It is preposterous. God doesn't want robots, but he will light you on fire for literally all of eternity if you don't obey him perfectly. So it sounds like he does want robots. Oh, listen, friends, I can't stay up super late tonight. I've got a jam-packed week this week of doing work on other projects and on other channels. In fact, Thursday, I'm going to be on the Unholier podcast with our friend Jennifer. So be for that. I'll be live Wednesday night, of course, but I can't stay up late tonight. So I'm going to use restroom and read some super chats. We'll be live again Wednesday night. I'll be on the Unholier podcast Thursday. I'll be live again on Friday night. I'll be live again on Sunday night. So we'll get lots of live time this week. Don't worry. This is, I know there are some people who try to catch me late at night because I stream until like 1,000,000 hours late in the evening. But sometimes I do actually have to get some rest. So let me use the restroom real quick, friends, and then I'm going to go ahead and read some super chats, and we'll close out our session. Also, I was thinking, I'm pondering a topic that I don't want to say it dabbles in the political, but I think that it might have a tiny fraction of crossover. I didn't do it last year, but I really want to do a topic just to like piss off like white conservatives that like specifically watch Fox News and OAN. I really want to do a Jesus was black. I'm not sorry. Well, that too. Jesus and Santa were both black. Because in reality, in history, friends, neither Jesus nor Santa were white. They did not look like me. All those pictures you've seen of Santa, white skin, white beard, the man was from fucking Turkey. He was not white. Jesus was from Palestine. He was not white. I will never understand why white American Christians feel the need to make Jesus white. It drives me insane. I don't know if it's a good enough topic for a live stream, but it's something that I always want to talk about. I don't know how to bring it up, but like Christians at some point have to grasp onto this. Like they've got to figure some shit out. You can't say that the Bible is like historically accurate. Christianity has like this deep history, and then ignore some of the most fundamental factors of the actual history that we have. Yeah, Santa Claus, Saint Nicholas, by the way. Saint Nicholas was modeled after a real Christian saint. The dude was not white. He was from Turkey. Anyways, this is a thought I get every Christmas. SDA says tithings for the one true God. Doug, all hail Doug. Thank you so much. Doug approves. And Exist Dissolve says Doug revealed to me that Horus Streams is the one. Well, listen, that couldn't be from Doug. Ask again. Ask for real divine revelation because Doug is omni-stream. And Dr. Wasambla says, Vert now as I'm still seated. I will go Horus soon. That's what I'm talking about. That's the crossover we need, Dr. Wasambla. Thank you for that. And Martin says, should I argue with the JW people I meet every day? I mean, it can be fun. I'm torn, okay? So let me tell you why. Most of the JWs I know grew up in it. They've been like indoctrinated into the calls. Most of the ones I've seen doing the missionary work, they don't want to be doing it. They're doing it because their church compels them to do it. So I almost feel bad for some of them. If I get some JWs that show up and like it's clear that they're out really wanting to win souls because they believe this bullshit, yeah, I'll definitely argue with them. But if they're just like a really nice individual that I can tell is like reluctantly just doing it because their church makes them, I'm not gonna argue with them. We might have a little bit of dialogue, but I'm not gonna give them a hard time. Remember, friends, you only have to cook the assholes. You don't have to cook everybody in your life that believes. If there are nice people in your life that believe in these religions and they're not hurting anyone, you don't have to cook them. I mean, you can if the opportunity arises, but you don't have to. Mike Bone says, mosh pits named for Moses per the book of Striper. Oh, of course, yes. The one and only almost original Christian rock band. I think Petra beat them to it, right? Didn't Petra start before Striper? Now we're going deep in some old school Christian lore, and I'm showing my age here. I actually used to have a Petra album. Just saying. It did include God Gave Rock and Roll to You, obviously. I mean, if you own a vinyl album of Petra and it doesn't include God Gave Rock and Roll to You, did you really own a Petra album? I don't know if you did. Dr. Fudge's heads up, sleeping kitty behind Sharon Stone. I know. Volta demands to be on display. He demands the attention. You know, he wants to get up here and, you know, play in the fluff. And actually now he's over here. He actually got down. Let me show you. He finally got off the shelf and is on the perch. Although it's probably temporary, probably short-lived if I had to guess. But you can't see it on the vertical stream just yet until I move it. There we go. Maybe up here. There you go. Oh, now he's gone. See, too late. Volta never stays put for very long. He's much more rambunctious than Faraday. You'd say Faraday is a little more caged. Somebody in the chat gave me that joke. Thank you, Dr. Fudge, for the super chat. Good to see you. FC Baker says, most boring Q&A to start. Kid questions. I know. Friends, I love you, but please do respect the boundaries of the live stream. This is a debate live stream. I will tolerate some people that I know are in the throes of deconstruction, but unless you're really struggling, please don't call in. We're here for debates. If you just wanted to ask questions, I mean, you can DM me. I typically get my emails and DMs answered within a week or so, but so obviously it's not quite as fast, but I get a lot of them. JM, thank you for the thumbs up. And Dr. Wasambla for the additional super chat says, Steven is kind of cool, but also not after 5 minutes. I know. I like Steven. But that's kind of what I'm saying. Some people are really in the throes of deconstruction, and Steven is one of them. If I can be here for Steven to guide him to a soft landing. I hope to do it. And Jennifer says, I love the deconstruction stories. Well, listen, I do. So like, when I first started my YouTube channel, I was doing some deconstruction stories. But the reality is not a lot of people love them. I love them, but not everyone does. Game Guy, thank you for the super chat, says that must be a record time for baby paste. I know. We got a bunch of them today in record time. We really squeezed it out of them. We didn't do Go-Gurt baby paste. We should have done that joke would have been better if we had done Go-Gurt baby paste. Dr. Wasamba coming again says he walked right into the pastry. EU standards. They always do. They really set themselves up. They blame me. They're like, well, you're trying to trap me. I'm really not. Half these people are walking into it. And Space Lord says, caller, I drove the Christianity bus into the wall, sure. But at least I didn't blink when I did it. Yeah, that is the case. I did what God told me to do without any reservation. Aren't you proud, God? I can't wait till they get to the pearly gates and God's like, I was testing you to see if you were a piece of shit. And it turns out you're a piece of shit. Lynn says, I'm paying my tithe to thank you for helping honest deconstruction Christians work through their process. Sending love to those kiddies. Well, thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. And I do. Like when I sense that there's a caller who really is deep in it, I'm going to help. I realize it's boring for the chat, but I am going to help them. So, but when I sense that there are people who are willing to murder babies and rape women, I'm going to corner them and make fun of them and probably call them bad names, because let's be honest, if you're pro raping women and murdering babies, that's kind of what you deserve. That's what's happening. Zakul says 2 in the baby killer counter. Shake my head. Doug bless. I know, Zakul. We had more than 2 as the live stream went on. And Stray says you need to undergo some evolution so that poor kitty can eat. Horrors for life. Schism is real. Listen, both of the kitties eat their fill multiple times a day. I have an automatic feeder, and they don't eat all the food that's automatically dispensed. They get 5 meals a day, and they don't even finish. I have to keep putting it back in, and I'm supplementing with wet food. This kitten is not hungry. This kitten thinks nursing is it's pacifying. Some kittens nurse too long because they're not getting enough nutrients. Some of them nurse because they like that bonding, that mother kitten bonding. And so it's not always about food. And these kittens, unfortunately, were taken from their mother probably right at birth. I don't know much of their backstory, but I know that they ended up at the shelter when they're like a week old. So the reality is, unfortunately, the kittens are doing the best they can given the life that they were given, and one of them still wants to suckle, and one of them's done. One of them's already done with that. He didn't. I don't know if he ever did it at all. Only one of them did. They're brothers, by the way. Boris says we already have 2 child unalivers already. Time to start up a counter. What a start to the live. Love the channel as always. Rock hard for Doug. You know what? That is a good point. Long time ago, back when I was a young streamer, Skits and Bits used to do that. He would do a deny or condemn or affirm on particular Bible passages, and he would just keep a counter up and see how many Christians he could get to affirm the most horrific passages in the Bible. Maybe it's time to do that again. I love Skits though. I miss you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Game says, we're grilling tonight. Put a 1 in the chat if you are in the wide, curvy whores denomination. Thick whores. I do love me some thick whores. What can I say? Oh boy, we're definitely going to get kicked off TikTok. Reverend Nate, thank you for the $5 Canadian chat. DZ's Rock Hard Salt Lick Emporium is having a lot of sale this week. Come on down, just off the I-95, just south of Sodom. Ask for Doug or Sharon. Indeed, you'll get served. That is for sure. Lick Emporium is not a phrase I ever expected to leave my mouth. And Dexter says, last king of Scotland over here. Doug, strike him down. Oh, okay. If you haven't seen the movie Last King of Scotland, this won't make sense to you, but it's a really good movie. It's such a good movie. I mean, obviously, it's not. I mean, I don't want to ruin the movie. It's like it's based on a real history. It's just it's amazing. It's not about a real Scottish king, but it's amazing. And you do have to. I think it was a book first, and then became a movie. I didn't read the book. I saw the movie, but either way, amazing story. I really enjoyed it. It was popular for a minute. Game Guy says PDF Free is a flurfer. He was on Dalton's Live. No fucking way. PDF Free is a flurf. Ugh, I'm a little bit sad that we didn't have a topic tonight that would be flurf worthy. But I'm at least glad that he got up on Dalton's live stream and Duncan can deal with him. Dalton is really bright though. My gosh. What a smart guy. There's a couple people that are streaming that I think are really smart. Like Dan McClellan, Sarah, and I think Dalton's really smart. I think he's got a really vice type memory, and he's really good at learning. And he's young. He's got lots of energy to do it. So I hope he goes far. Captain Hammer says, "Do you think the name Judas, being a derivative of Judah, could have been selected in the story for the betrayer since the Jews didn't accept Jesus?" Okay, so this is certainly something that you would believe if you were like in the mythicist camp, or if you were mythicist adjacent, believing that even the names of the disciples are mythologized. And I could go for that. The only name that I think is like maybe definitely part of the 12 would have been Matthew, because we find crossover in like extra biblical Jewish texts, like in Sanhedrin 43a. But what were the names of the disciples contrived? I kind of feel like the answer is yes. And if these answers yes, right, that the names of the disciples were contrived, put together a story, well, then that would include Judas as well. You could also go the route of saying, well, no, they originally had 12 names, and one was changed to Judas as a commentary. Now, the reason why this would make the most sense under mythicism is because they're going to work on that north-south, that Samaritan Jew divide. And this would be a commentary because remember, Jesus was from Galilee. Most of the early messianic movements were all from Galilee. Take note. Almost all of the messiahs you've heard about, other than Jesus, were from the region of Galilee. And the reason was they were still firmly Hebrew in their practices. But they did not respect the southern tribes. They understood the southern tribes to be unholy, unrighteous, not real followers of God's intent with the law. In fact, the Samaritans in the north, they still used Paleo Hebrew. Look at the Samaritan Pentateuch. It was written in Paleo Hebrew, meaning they and Gerizim, they really thought that they were the true children of Abraham, and not as much the Jews. The Jews were wayward. So could this be a text that was written by Greek-speaking people from northern Palestine, or even further north of Palestine, further north of Galilee? And are they including commentary to poo-poo on the Judeans after the diaspora? Possibly. It's a real possibility, Captain Hammer. Good question. And Lahir says, "Sorry, Justin, but volume of callers is too low today." It'd be too late today, too loud tomorrow. Guys, you have to let me know. Whenever the volume's off, I need like 100 people to super chat it. And unfortunately, like I'm just in one of those situations where like it's hard for me to keep track of everything that's happening all at once. And I'm deeply sorry for that. I try when I do clips, sometimes I can smooth them out. Drew says, you have to wonder how different the Bible would be if written by women. I know. It would be way different. It would be so much different. I bet though. I mean, maybe Deuteronomy 22 would be a test for a male virgin, or Numbers 5 would be a test to know if your wife cheated on you. Sonic Shroom says, did I hear right that David was killed before his wives get it? So he got no punishment because he was dead already. No. He wasn't killed yet. His son was killed in his place, and then his wives got raped. That happens in chapter 16, but he's alive way past chapter 16. In fact, in chapter 20, he takes the palace back. Jennifer says everybody got punished but David. Indeed, that is the case. Was there punishment? Yes, there was. Did David get punished? No, not really. If it was a fair punishment, he should have been raped and murdered. Gentleman Viking, thank you for the cute doggo super chat. Says, question, how are white girls and prime numbers alike? Answer, they literally can't even. That's a dated joke, but I love it. That was a really good one. I don't know why I've never heard that one. It seems obvious now that I've heard it, but that's a good one. No shade to white girls. There are a lot of intelligent white girls. Sarah's one of them, friends. You know that. Smack says, what fruit of the spirit is yours? Pinot Noir here. Yes. That's the spirit fruit that I'm looking for right there. Maybe some good wine to go with some cheese. Oh yeah, that'd be good. Dr. Wasamba says, please let PhD flee go away, Dumb and Dumber. Wait, flee go away. Was that a line from Dumb and Dumber? I don't remember that. Shit. Flee go away. There's some good lines from that movie, though. Excuse me, Flo. Boar says PhD Free is a Jedi at this point. Soon as you press him for anything, he pulls out his lightsaber and deflects and dodges everything. I know. They really do. They really do become experts at dodgeball the minute you start asking them questions. Like, they get terrified. And I get it, because I'm going to ask them hard questions and I'm going to force them to answer. But if they're not ready for that, they shouldn't be up here. And Carrie says, can't hear the callers on YouTube. Carry on. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that note. I think some callers come in and they're really, really quiet, and it's hard for me to know. Sometimes I can tell. But I did. My God. I did set up I have a sound meter on my OBS stream now, so I can compare everybody's volume to my volume. So what I need to do is be reminded to check the sound bar with every guest and make sure that our sounds are roughly equivalently the same level, with me obviously slightly louder, so that when they begin talking over me, it's a meaningless endeavor. And Collapse says recently a University of Oklahoma study failed a psych test. Study or student? Because I think you mean student, because she used the Bible as a reference and is now challenging it. We are fucked. Oh my God. Are you telling me that she failed a psychology test because she used the Bible? I'm curious to know what the paper was on, what her thesis was. Fucking Oklahoma. Oklahoma's crazy. Triple says, set up your voice to duck their channel. I don't have a method for that. So there might be some form of plugin I can get for my soundboard for auto ducking. I don't think there is, though. Now, I know if it's a YouTube guest, they're coming in on Video Ninja, and I can set up audio ducking on Video Ninja, but I don't think I can for any of the TikTok stuff. Noah's Lion says, I vote for grapefruit on the body of Justin. Grapefruit may be okay. Maybe two of them right here. I don't know. We can pull that off. The acid might be uncomfortable on the old nips. Reverend Nate, thank you for the super chat, says, wait, so for DZ Communion, everyone gets a sewing kit disguised as cookies? That is the case. That is the case. If you've got an old tin of butter cookies that is not currently acting as a sewing kit, where are you from? What's wrong with you? What world are you living in? Hard to be gay for Justin when he's bringing childhood trauma back. I'm sorry, Reverend Nate. I'm sorry. But we appreciate that even amongst the trauma, you're gay for Justin. Live your life, friend. Mr. Yogi says, them saying, but God didn't cause it is basically calling God a liar. I know, isn't that crazy? That God will say, I'm doing this thing, and like, well, God didn't do it. Motherfucker, he said he's doing it. Why do you hate God's words? Antimatter says the body should be a handful of pop rocks. Oh, yeah, that's very good. Well, if it's Doug's body, Doug and Sharon, I don't know about mine. I don't know. I got to think about that. Maybe some Dr. Pepper and Pop Rocks. The same, or Mountain Dew, because mountains obviously, and Pop Rocks. I think that would be the communion for Doug and Sharon, right? Mountain Dew and Pop Rocks. Londro says, as a kid, if my siblings or I would get in trouble for lying, the others would tease you, chanting Revelation 21:8, all liars go to hell. F indoctrination. Yes. We used to say that not as kids, because I didn't grow up fundamentalist, but when I was in church, we would tease and say, liars go to the lake of fire. That's why, liar, liar, pants on fire. That's where you get that kind of thing from. But yeah, I mean, it gets ingrained in your head, right? Drungle Tunks, thank you for the super chat. It says, when I went to church, Jesus came in me. I decided to forgive him. I mean, he says that he's going to come in you so deep that he's going to touch your heart. So I'm sure it was a pretty violent process. You're very forgiving. And Kyle, good to see you, my friend. Jesus loves you. John 14:15. I think you mean chapter 14, verse 15. Certainly you're not referring to all of the chapters. John 14:15 says, I feel like I should know this. If you love me, oh yeah. If you love me, you will keep my commands. That's true. If you love me, you will keep my commands, which means baby paste all day, motherfuckers. Malcolm says, my cat Darwin, amazing name, my cat Darwin did that neck licking thing for 18 years until he died 3 months ago. I'm sorry to hear that. That's terrible that you lost your loved one. Dunzo, thank you for the galaxy. Cherish that love. Watching Faraday makes me miss my boy so much. I hate that you lost your boy Darwin. That breaks my heart. But I will certainly cherish my kittens for as long as I get them. Certainly, hopefully, we get more time with these two as we got with Pi. I had about 1.5 years with Pi, and unfortunately, he was too sick to carry on. Evan says, I'm just here to see Justin smuggling kitties. Snuggling kitties? Gay for Justin? Evan, we're all here for that. I'm a little bit disappointed if I start a stream and there's no kitty snuggling now. It's become part of my life, part of my stream. And base to share, good to see you, friend. Thank you for the 666. Says, I'd rather have informed consent than free will. Yeah. Unfortunately, God gives you supposed free will to choose to be lit on fire, but he won't give you consent in the Bible because, and you already know this, Ashera, women are property in the Bible. So, like, does property get consent? I don't think so. Danny Boy, thank you for the super chat, says, I was Christian for 10 years and you helped me deconvert. So you can add that to your statistics. Well, thank you, Danny. I appreciate that. I do get messages pretty regularly from people saying that I helped to deconvert them from this death cult. And I'm glad for it. I love it when people let me know. And Big Cheese, good to see you again. Thank you for the additional super chat. Says, God is crueler to righteous people than he is to those who are selfish and cruel themselves. Indeed. In fact, what he did to Job's family is asinine. What he did to Job is asinine. And he delights in it. Deuteronomy 28:63. Just as I took delight in making you prosperous and numerous, so I will take delight in bringing you into destruction and ruin, having you picked off the land. God takes delight in ruining his own children. Crazy. Haler, thank you for the super chat. Says on the road from Dallas to San Antonio. Blessed to have Doug's guidance on this journey. Hell yeah! Drive safely. Drive safely. Don't be super chatting while you're driving, friend. And thanks for listening. And Joe Sumaya, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says I grew up Mormon. Was taught that Adam and Eve would be the only ones without belly buttons. Oh, I mean, to be fair, at least the Mormons took that question seriously, because if in fact they're the first humans, they weren't born of another human, they wouldn't have belly buttons. Like, we wouldn't expect them to have belly buttons. So I think it's a fair question. And Zedstone, thank you for the $5 Canadian chat. Says some of the worst suffering occurs right before death. How does suffering build character if the person is dead? Zed, oh, this is such a good point. Most of the suffering we will encounter in our life is in our latter years, right before we die, which means it's not really soul building. It's soul crushing, in fact. That's why you see so many old people that are struggling, because they're dealing with, late life crisis. They're dealing with late life health concerns. They're dealing with not being able to pay for it sometimes. They have to choose between their medication or food. And Big Cheese says, why does the biblical God love a-holes and jerks over nice guys? God prefers bad boys. That's what it is. The God of this book is a rebellious teenage girl that just wants to be with the bad guys. That's why God's fucking over here with the Babylonians. These Babylonians and the Medes, who don't even have any regard for silver and gold, it says in the book of Jeremiah. Oh, sorry, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 16 and 17. Noah's Lion says, Spider-Man and his imaginary friends, plus the two-headed donkey, are on my cutting table while I listen to the barbecue. Keep your eyes open for the mail. Well, thank you, Noah. I love it. In fact, now that I'm no longer doing a green screen, I got to show everyone the shirt that you made me. I'll wear it for the next stream. It was an amazing ode to Doug, the shirt that you made me. I loved it. I loved it. We got to send links out to your Etsy shop where they can buy this stuff. Sonic Dream says, how do you feel about being called our deacon of deconstruction? I love it. In fact, I did that once. Somebody couldn't read my name and they called me deacon, and it just stuck for a couple days. But I would definitely be your deacon of deconstruction, my friend. And gentlemen, thank you for the super chat. Says, do demon babies equal spicy baby paste? I would have to imagine. At a bare minimum, they're at least going to have some paprika, if you could even call that spicy. But to be fair, like, if you think paprika is spicy, you're whiter than me, and that's pretty white. That's like, might as well be referring to plain mayonnaise as spicy at that point. Ianto says, chain of command is crazy. Even our military can refuse bad orders. That's interesting. I don't know about military life. So, if in fact you're ordered to do something in the military, let's say, for example, that it violates the Geneva Convention, do you have to do it? Like, will you get in trouble? Like, I mean, the worst they could do is, can they dishonorably discharge you? But they can't lock you up, can they, for disobeying an order? I'm so confused. I don't know how the military works all that well. People who are more in the know will have to help me out on this one. And not the Bible, Jason. Thank you for the additional super chat. Says, I can make baby paste clergy crop tops with a QR code to the stream and ship them to random bigoted churches in the U.S. You know I will. Thumbs up or down. Thumbs all the way up. 2 thumbs up. 2 throbbing thumbs up, JMR. I would love to see this happen. And please, let's please send baby paste to local churches. I'm here for it. And listen, fuck, you can print out flyers with my face on it. Prove your God is real and leave them at your local church. Put them in Gideon's Bibles, whatever. Maybe I'll print off some stickers and hand them out to people. Brizinger says, and ensues the censorship protecting delusion. Stay strong, friend. We love you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think this is a continuation of your last super chat, though. But the problem is I don't see a last super chat in here, which means I might not be reading it correctly. Something ensues the censorship protecting delusions. TikTok certainly is. In fact, and so is ChatGPT and the other language learning models. So I tested a couple AI models, and I asked it to draw like pictures of Jesus in like maybe compromising positions, and they did it. And then I asked them to do it with like anybody in Islam, and they're like, no, we can't cross that religious border. We have to respect all people's religions. Like, motherfucker, you just did this to Jesus, and you won't do this to Muhammad, because because Islam will kill you for drawing Muhammad, and nobody wants to get capped. Reverend Nate says God was voted best God by the God of the Bible. That's it. He self-voted. It was like that British Bake Off, and he voted for himself on all the tickets. SPL, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. It says, and would one of you catch a dang ball? They never will. They're gonna dodge. They're not gonna catch. It's like watching a bunch of Christians dodging yes or no questions. It's left, right, dodge, dick. They're not going to answer questions. They're just never going to do it. Whatever. That's basically their admission that they can't be honest. That's all. I mean, it's not just Christians, by the way. We know Islam does the same thing. Mormons will do the same thing. Whenever you're confronted with a difficult question, it's easier just to ignore it and move on. Faye says, your loud cats are sending my cats on a hunt for mystery cats. I'm sorry about that. Faraday purrs loud and right in my neck in the microphone. But to me, personally, I find it soothing. I could fall asleep to a cat purr. Free Wolf says, as a former Christian turned atheist, I appreciate your content. Well, thank you, Free Wolf. You are free now. I enjoy learning without having to waste one more second of my life reading the Bible. Listen, that's what I'm here for. I'm reading the Bible so you don't have to. That's Joel's slogan. Joel reads Bible. Amazing channel, by the way. If you don't already follow him, you should. Hey, and S, thank you for the $5 super donation. Big W. And Big Cheese back again. Says, that's the Old Testament. Easy anti-Semitic dog whistle. I mean, sometimes it actually is anti-Semitic. I think with Christians, it's more of a reflex than anti-Semitic, though. I think a lot of Christians, they've been told that, like, you don't have to read the Old Testament. It's not relevant to you. That's old stuff, but you do have to read it. Also, I got 2 notifications. Deanna Anderson, thank you for the $50 donation on Venmo. Says, per usual, appreciate your valid debates. Well, thank you, Deanna. And Deanna, an additional $100. Thank you so much. Says, please ask Timothy on for you or Lord 1337 to call in. Neither one of them got into the guest box. I apologize, Deanna, that I didn't see this sooner. I would have asked them to come in, but unfortunately, it's hard to monitor. I've got 3 screens going and like 5 pieces of software running, and I'm trying to debate. Sometimes when I get message notifications, I don't see them right away. And also because I have to keep my phone on my desk down quite often because my cat will walk on it. I don't have a phone holder yet to hold my phone so I can look at phone notifications during the live stream. I'll get that taken care of this week. I'll get a phone holder so I can have the phone actually up and I can look for notifications rather than having my cat walk on it. Monkey says, is it broken? No, it's not broken. It's just that if my phone is open and my cat walks on it, it's going to close the stream. I've got the stream running on it, right? And so with the stream open, it never turns off. But if the cat keeps walking on it, then it's not going to have the effect that I need it to have, But you're right, Cheese. You're right. Good question says, title idea, God wants robots. Oh, fuck yes. Yep. 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 I'm writing it on a cue card. We'll do this topic immediately. Topic. God does want robots. That's an amazing topic. I'm befuddled that this never crossed my mind yet. This is an amazing topic. We'll be putting that one together real quick, friends. Thank you for that good question. That was a good topic. And Shipwrecked says, if God was all-knowing, wouldn't he know who would be atheists and therefore know they would be punished? So this is a very good point. If God knows who's going to be an atheist and who's not going to be an atheist, I mean, theoretically, he could just have him not be born and not waste his time. Like, why send anybody to hell when you could merely just make sure they don't get born? Like, if you're going to have 4 children and you know one of them is going to be an atheist, just don't have that one born. You don't have to murder anybody. You don't have to send them to hell for eternity. None of that stuff. And Rory says, all praise Doug, for the rock abides. Everything is made of stardust, so don't panic. Have a Kraken on me. Jesus and Santa are mush. If you have enough Kraken, Jesus and Santa will turn into mushrooms. You'll be seeing some shrooms for sure. Hey, Faraday, baby. He came to say hi again and probably suck my neck. Amy Cook, PhD, thank you for the super chat, says, I understand the argument for why God hides from us. Then we have faith. Well, I don't think it's a good argument because he didn't hide from Abraham or Moses or anyone else, and they had great faith according to Hebrews chapter 11. It says, but why does Satan just show up all the time? He has no need for faith. I know. Isn't that crazy? Satan just appears all the time. He's on the earth, roaming around, going to and fro, seeking who he may devour, according to the text. But, like, nobody has faith in Satan. Well, hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. I know, bud. I know. I have faith in Faraday, though. Charles says, wouldn't Satan be dumb as heck to offer God something he knows is already his, so Jesus can't be God? So this is kind of the thing, Charles. This plays into adoptionism, right? So in adoptionism, the temptation in the wilderness makes perfect sense. Jesus has to prove himself worthy of the status of son. Whereas in the other models, it doesn't. If he's born God and everyone knows he's God, even the demons do. Remember when he cast out the demons at Gerasene? They know. He said, "What? Our time has not come." Right? They know who Jesus is. The Legion know that if the demons all know who Jesus is, sure as fuck, so does Satan, right? So Satan offering them all the kingdoms of the world would only ever make sense if you believe that Jesus had to graduate to Son of God as opposed to being born Son of God. Maybe we really should do a full-on video lesson on the main channel on adoptionism. To me, it's the only sensible way to look at Jesus. It's the only way to do it. Anytime you deviate from adoptionism, Christianity makes no sense anymore. Nailed it like the Romans. Amazing name. Thank you for the 666. Says Bigfoot, hide and seek champion of the world. God, hide and seek champion of the universe. Also God, ultimate peeping Tom. Yeah. It's weird that God is so in tune with what's happening here that he's like making sure you don't put your pee-pee in the wrong place. That he's got to watch that shit. But he sure as fuck isn't going to show up and like help you in any meaningful way in life. He will, however, torture you to quote unquote bring him closer to you. He'll do some of that. Juju, thank you for the $5 super chat, and beautiful cat, by the way, says, do you have a Bible translation and edition recommendation that has lots of room for notes? My True Images, fuck O Testament F. What? I don't know what FOTS means. Bible needs an upgrade. Well, my favorite Bible that has room for writing in the margins and has thick enough pages for writing is called the Catholic Note-Taking Bible. It's an amazing study Bible. In fact, if you have the standard Catholic study Bible, the Catholic Note-Taking Bible has the same study notes as this, but thicker pages that don't bleed through, and there's like 1.5 inches of margin on each side with lines that you can write in, and it's amazing. And because it's not really a widely advertised Bible, Not that expensive. It wasn't very expensive at all. I got mine on Amazon. Wasn't hard to get a hold of. The Catholic Note-Taking Bible. You'll love it. You'll love it. It's the NRSV updated edition, I believe. Is it updated edition? No. I'm sorry. It's the NABRE, the New American Bible Revised Edition. And the NABRE, in my opinion, is every bit as good as the NRSV UE, the NRSV Updated Edition. I think they're both amazing, amazing revisions. And they typically always agree with each other too, by the way. But so that's a really good Bible. If you don't care so much about the note taking, I would get the New Oxford Annotated Study Bible. That's going to be coming out this spring on the 6th edition. It's on pre-order now. There's no room in the margins, but it will have good study notes. But 6th edition is on pre-order. It'll be available early this spring, according to rumors, and it's going to be amazing. I think you're going to like it a lot. But the 5th edition is good too. Jay says, I think your live was restricted because the guy talking about lizard people conspiracies. Oh, fuck, you're right. Yep. That's it, Jay. I forgot about that. Yeah. You can't mention conspiracy theories. Any variant of conspiracy theory, you got to be careful. You'll get your live flagged on TikTok. Fair point. Yep, you're right. Tripolar disorder. I didn't know about this one. I know about bipolar. Thank you for the super chat. It says, put a clean, soft cloth on your shoulder for a kitty. Oh, I could. But I mean, he does fine on my sweater. Do I need a cloth in addition to my sweater? I mean, he's not going to ruin it. I keep their nails clipped. I mean, they've got enough to climb, but not really enough to ruin right now. Kelly says, truck nuts and chodes. Just wanted to hear you say it. Rock hard for Doug. I'll say it twice. Truck nuts and chodes. I mean, that does feel like truck nuts and chode feel like if you had a Venn diagram of like what an American Christian is into, that's going to be in the Venn diagram somewhere. Reverend Nate, thank you for the $5 Canadian chat. Says, in Canada and US, you can refuse to obey unlawful orders. How that plays out when they try and charge you is a different conversation. I know. When they charge you, they're always going to trump something up. It's kind of like when somebody at your work really wants to fire you, they'll make a reason to fire you. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. They'll find a reason. There's always something dumb, like insubordination, right? So, like, if the government really wants to charge you with something, they'll fucking find something to charge you with. So be careful with the law. They don't play by the rules, and they also make the fucking rules. Simeon, thank you for the $5 super chat, says, in the military, it's a bedrock rule that you are expected to refuse illegal orders. Mainly came after the German soldiers on trial for World War II. That's good to know. So that's more of a recent advancement. But, I mean, at least 70 years old now. So, in fact, if they did tell you to do something like kill a baby, you can say, no, fuck you. I'm not going to do that. I'm glad to hear it. McDubbin, thank you for the $10 super chat, says Yahweh is just a divorced dad. A divorced dad with a self-hating complex that forces him to lash out and or project his inadequacies on his creation that was supposedly made in his image. I mean, it does check out. It does check out. I'm with you there. Liz is shouting in the TikTok chat, Justin noticed me. Liz, I fucking noticed you. I mean, I noticed your chat. Noticing is happening now. McDubbin, good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well. Good question coming back in is the WEB Bible edition any good? I don't love it. Is it terrible? No, it's not terrible. I don't love it. If I'm going to do something that's not the NABRE and not the NRSV, you might want to go with the Net Bible. By the way, we don't get to talk about the Net Bible very much, but friends, if you don't know Greek or Hebrew and you want to understand some of the translation difficulties of the Bible, get the Net Bible with full notes. This is, as far as I know, this is the only English translation of the Bible where virtually all of the notes are on translation. So right here is the passage. Everything under this is study notes on how they came to their decisions on how to translate this text. It's really good. They spell out all the problems that I talk about on the live stream. If you heard me talk about the translation issues in Psalm 22, it's in here. If you heard me talk about translation issues in Deuteronomy 32, verse 8 and 9, it's going to be in here. The Net Bible with full notes is amazing if you want to understand some of the translation difficulties, but you couldn't, you don't have time to learn Greek or Hebrew. And to be fair, who really does, you know? So, huge recommendation for the Net Bible with full notes. And Tripolar says cloth for suckling saves your neck. Oh, I could do that. Or maybe it's time to get a turtleneck. I need an Archer tactical turtleneck. That's what I need. That will, I think that'll be the thing. Okay. Maybe, or at least a collar of some nature. A collar, I think, would probably fix that. Yeah. Okay. Good suggestion, Tripolar. Well, listen, friends, that's the end of the super chats. I really appreciate everyone being here. Who's live that we can go raid? Certainly somebody's live right now that we can go send everyone to and have a good old fashioned raid here. I still got like 400 people on vertical and 1,300 people watching on horizontal. So we've got damn near 2,000 people on YouTube we can send somewhere. And we've got a couple hundred, 360 people on TikTok that we can send somewhere. So by all means, let's find somebody that we can send them to. Let's see I don't see anybody live on YouTube. Is anyone live on YouTube right now other than, is it just Parker? Parker's the only the only atheist live on YouTube right now. I mean, obviously he's live on TikTok as well. Well, fuck me. I didn't think that was going to be the case. It's Monday, right? Okay. Well, this is what we're going to do then. Friends, we haven't done this in probably over a year, but we're going to raid Parker's live stream. Fucking A, let's go. Parker's live right now.
Disagree with what ICE is doing currently. I do believe
debating
that he's
politics,
cut down
but
the
he's
borders,
an atheist as well. He used to
that's a good
debate
thing
religion
because
and
I think
politics.
that there should be a legal way to immigrate.
Guys, let's go raid Parker's live stream.
Something that's actually
Tell
capable
him that
of getting done
that
because our court system
deconstruction
doesn't
zone
allow
sent
it
you.
for
He'll
now.
know
But
who
shutting
you're
down the
talking
borders
about.
so that we
Everyone
know
on TikTok's
exactly
familiar
who's
with each
coming in
other.
and out
Tell
is a
him
better